evening, everybody. It's the Cryptid Huntress. I'm Jessica Jones. Welcome in to our weekly remote viewing show where we have quite the zinger tonight. We've got very interesting target, actually. And you guys might all be familiar with it. You might not be. But it is a ghost alien or an alien, allegedly suspected alien on a Russian airplane. Okay, and we're going to dive into that tonight. I do have Barry Littleton here. He is the one who gave me this target. He tasked me with this target probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago, or maybe a month ago. I don't remember, y'all, but I've done 3 sessions on this thing. Blind targets. I did the first target twice, and then I did the other one. He gave me another one from another angle on this. I don't know what all the targets are even. We have not even talked about this, y'all. And so we're going to, we did talk about it a little bit, but we have not discussed all the ins and outs of this yet. And so as soon as I bring Barry up, we'll learn more about this one. Okay. Because some people think it's an alien in the back of an airplane, and others say it's a cello or some kind of guitar case. And I don't know, my data is wild. It's really wild. So if you guys would like to see my data, as a matter of fact, you can become a member of my Patreon. Thank you to all of my Patreon members. You guys are the best. Y'all can sign up over on Patreon at patreon.com/The Cryptid Huntress. And the data is there, the pictures, anything that I'm going to be pretty much showing tonight, it'll be over there on that Patreon post. And all of the posts that I make, all the shows, all the targets that I do, they are all over there on my Patreon with all the raw remote viewing data. So thank you so much to all of my members over there. It's awesome that y'all are awesome. Also, if you'd like to check out my website, just go to thecryptidhuntress.com, and my calendar of events is over there. And I will be at the Molina Bigfoot Festival this Saturday. So if you guys are in the Molina, Georgia area, please, come down and see me. Come down and see me at the Molina Bigfoot Festival in downtown Molina, Georgia. Angie was here on Saturday night, and we were joking around about how you just go find the one stop sign. Oh my gosh, or a flashing light. I forgot what she said, but it was funny. And it's a great small town Bigfoot festival. And we'd love to see y'all over there. I'm going to be presenting at 10 a.m. and then again at 1 p.m. And so you got to go to their website and sign up because there's limited seating for my presentation over there. And also, if you got a teenager, I'm going to be giving a presentation up in Kennesaw, Georgia tomorrow night at their local library. If you got a teen that would like to go to Camp Cryptid, go over to the North Cobb Library website and sign them up for that. And I always keep a busy schedule, and I love it. Teaching everybody about cryptids and Bigfoot, okay, and Dogman. I don't know if I'm going to tell the kids about I was asking somebody the other day, I was like, should I tell these teenagers about those goats getting ripped apart? Probably not, okay, so probably not. I'm going to keep it PG for Friday night and probably for Saturday too. But anyways, all right, let's get to our show tonight because we've got a good one, y'all. We've got a great target, and let's get the show on the road. Let's get this party going. In 2015, something compelled businesswoman Olesya, I don't know how to pronounce her name, Podkorytov, okay, to snap a selfie picture while on an airplane while on a business trip in Russia. When she shared this picture online, she received many comments about a mysterious figure a few seats behind her. There appears to be a mysterious ghost alien several seats behind her. The figure seen in the back of the plane has never truly been debunked. And beyond the speculation, it's never been debunked beyond the speculation that it was simply a cello case. Now, Barry did task me with this incident, with this figure, whatever this is, as a coordinate remote viewing target. And we're going to discuss that data today. We've got more information on this. Please help me welcome to the show from Barry Littleton on YouTube and Patreon, our good friend, Barry Littleton. Hey, Barry.
Hey, what's up, Jessica? What a day. Good to see you. I'm glad to be here.
Oh,
and,
man.
I got to tell you, of all the targets we've done, which this is number 86.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but this is one I've been looking forward to probably almost the most. It's one of the higher ones, definitely. You know,
Really?
yeah, yeah, and the reasons being that this is just, I get energy off things. I'm not a remote viewer, but I pick up energy and I can see, and I always got a lot of energy off that picture. And when they first tried to debunk it, it was two ways. The first was, oh, it's a cello bass or a cello a case,
A case.
or maybe a double bass case. And then it got changed right now. If you were to Google it on Google, it'll say, oh, it was dismissed. It's a person in a hoodie with some headphones on, like apparently from the 80s, like those type of headphones. And there's something metal around that is glaring off of it that's causing this, what do you call it, pareidolia?
Wow.
And look, I looked up then and now all sorts of types of cello cases, double bass cases. My oldest brother plays the bass, so I'm somewhat familiar with what they are. And and I couldn't find anything look like that, and especially the thing on the neck. I couldn't see anything that looked quite like that. And also that it's their explanations pretty much, in my opinion, suck. Yeah. So I want to know, what you got off of it. One, if it's a cello case, you would got something totally different, the data. But I want to see what you got off of it, and how much of it conformed to what I had seen with it. You know what I mean? And it's odd because when I give you these targets, I try and make very sure that they're clean, not just of dark forces affecting the target itself, but also that my personal beliefs and wishes don't influence it. You know what I mean? Like, so it's not a Barry Wish target.
Well, even when you give me targets that you're thinking it's one way, you never, you're always surprised, aren't you? It's like you always say you bit off more than you could chew. So
yeah, this one's really interesting. Really interesting. It can go several ways, and it's I actually did a really nice session last night, a long one, with somebody who's a fan of your show, and they're not in the chat. They're not one of those people, you know what I mean? But they watch quite a bit, and they kept saying, at the beginning and then, so you all put so much of a database of information together. It's really going to help people in the future. So you guys have connected a lot of puzzles with people that look at all the shows you two have done. So she's done others, but the ones you two have done are really informative. I was like, well, thank you. That's cool. So it's nice that just a few people. It makes it all worth it, doesn't it?
It does. It does. That's very nice. And we are laying the groundwork for some pretty interesting data, raw data from blind remote viewing targets. And I think remote viewing will be way more popular in the future. Okay, I think people are just learning about it, and they think that we're probably a bunch of crazy people. But one day, Barry, when we're old and gray, which I'm already getting there, but we'll look back and the people will be like, "Oh yeah, Jessica and Barry were doing that back in the day," So anyways.
Jessica, do you think it would be as popular as 3-Eye Atlas? No.
Well, I've remote viewed it twice, so we'll see. Okay, yeah, 3-Eye Atlas. That is the hot topic right now. And it's understandably so, because people are worried about what's going to happen. It's in the mainstream media. Okay. And so, yeah, it's kind of unlike a lot of these other, sky events. I don't know. I mean, the threat of an alien invasion is on the horizon. Okay?
Oh, that is such a weak threat. It's
such
a weak threat. I mean, the whole thing is weak, and it's a shame that it's diverting our timeline from one that could be possible real first contact that changes this planet to one now of the alien war. I mean, it's an invasion. It's too bad that that timeline has been skewed. So, but it is what it is. I think it's happening in a different way anyway. It's more private than what it was going to be initially, I think.
Yeah.
Contact is almost individual right now, really.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is. Well, okay. Well, there's not just this. Okay, so this is a potential ET in a plane that it looks like there was a woman sitting beside this thing and wasn't reacting to it. But in the past, I'm going to say 2 or 3 years, there have been several things that are not human inhumanoids. I don't know even what to call them. Things that are not human, demons, reptilians, shapeshifters. I don't know. In planes where people have panicked. Okay, recently, Barry. Now, are they on substances? Maybe. I don't know. These people that are saying, I don't know.
The peanuts.
I know people do like to have their drinks on an airplane. Okay, so it could be that, but it seems to be. I'm not saying it's a trend or anything, but I've got some pictures and things, and we'll discuss those at the end of the show today if we have a chance. But our focus tonight is on the ghost. They're calling it a ghost alien on a Russian jet. Ghost alien. That's weird. You think they're calling it a ghost alien because it's kind of, it's kind of transparent a little bit?
Well, I mean, when you look at it, it's phased out. It's partially phased out. And you and I have talked so much about what happens when these beings, these civilizations, they use these makos, aka black holes, and they're in two places at one time, and we see the quantum hologram. That looks like a quantum hologram. And to be more honest, let's just cut to the chase, all right? Because I don't have a lot to say about this. It's more about the data you got. But look, to me, that thing looks like a suit. It looks like an environmental suit of some type. And something in your data, I'm just going to kick it to the front street now. Okay. And it's something that I've always felt with this thing, and that's what's really a trip, because I made sure that I have nothing to do with this or what you got on those target. You have the word Foo Fighter on there.
I do.
And, that takes us to a whole other thing. One is, when the Foo Fighters actually emerged, it was during World War II. And it was after the detonation of hydrogen bombs, which ripped through dimensions. Okay. And those things started showing up. And I've always took an interest in them. One of my fathers, my father's in his mid-90s, and he had a friend, Dr. George Boyd. And he was one of the Tuskegee Airmen. He's long dead now. But I had talked to him once, and I was like, Dr. Boyd, you ever see anything strange in the sky? I remember looking at me, and he's like, yes. He said, yes, during the war. And he said, I saw something that was some type of a lit up disc that was, he said it was going like this, like that. And it was the circles it was making so large in the sky, as high as we were. And he looked at me, he said, Barry, I don't care what anybody says. There was nothing even top secret that we had back then that could do anything like that. Wow. He said we were just kind of told not to talk about it. We saw stuff like that. So, so in that reason, I always took interest in Foo Fighters. But when you bring that up in the data, I found that absolutely astonishing. And another thing that's in the data a lot is cold environment, freezing. You've got just that in there a lot.
I mean, I thought I was remote viewing Antarctica or something for a minute, because there was a lot of that.
Since obviously this isn't the place where the cello case was made, right? Or where the sweatsuit or the headphones were made for the person they did it imposing a person over that with this hoodie on and this thing. It's really what it is. And it was a poor make. I couldn't find that picture, but it was a poor substitution. Anyway, but when dealing with that, it takes me kind of something, and I start geeking out always, so might as well geek out right now. There's a species on Star Trek, on all of Star Trek, called the Breen. It's more of the golden age of Trek. Breen. Okay, and they're a rather warlike species, but they walk around with these things called refrigeration suits. So you don't know what they actually look like. Okay, and when they talk, but they don't. And then it's during DS9, they said one of the other factions said, have you ever been to the Breen homeworld? It's like, no, I wouldn't go somewhere that's sub-zero temperatures like that. And he looked at him and said, no, actually, it's quite tropical there. It's tropical place. And they're looking at him, so why do they wear the refrigeration suits? And the guy's I don't know, nobody knows. So it's just little things like that come to mind just for fun, okay? But it's just interesting. So I want you to go over the data. I'm not going to say a lot this time, which is unusual by far, I'm sure.
Well, I gotta say, well, first of all, Nathan Davis, thank you so much for that super sticker. That is so sweet of you. Says the requisite tithing. Thank you, Nathan. I really do appreciate your support.
I don't know what that means. That went way over
That's
my
sweet.
head.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, in these targets, so Barry, can you explain to me exactly what these targets are? Because I did 2 targets, but I did one of them twice. I did I did 2 sessions on the first one. But what exactly was the first target before we go over this?
First one was that thing itself. What was it? Yeah.
So this right here.
Yeah. And the second target was what was its origin? Where was it from?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. It wasn't a music store. Okay.
No, what was the music store? What a factory.
I don't know. Maybe it is I don't know. I was getting some factory data though, for sure. So, okay. Well, let's get to the first target then. Okay. The first target is this alien or whatever this is. Cello case, person with headphones on. We don't know, right? We really don't know, but we're going to find out according to the data. Okay. So
let's throw it up there again for us while you go over it, just so we get that little effect.
Okay. Should we do this one, the big one?
All right. Yeah. Just for a second. I don't know.
Okay. So for the sensory data on this, whatever this is, I got loopy, triggered, fighting, glistening, sliding, gliding, removed, complacent, and hidden. That's my sensory data. For some of my analytic overlay, I wrote star, trigger happy, landslide, combat, foo fighter, go forward, move ahead, fury. I was picking up on Hitler data, Barry. Okay, like the Führer in German. I wrote German, Hitler and the Führer. I wrote. I also wrote Lancelot as well. But I wrote down. That? I don't know. Maybe it looks like a knight. Maybe he's got on a metal suit. I don't know.
Well, you know, it's interesting. It made me think about knights when I read it, like knights wearing suits, armor.
It does kind of look like a knight, doesn't it?
It took me back to the environmental suit thing again. Anyway, sorry, keep going. I want to interrupt.
Yeah, I mean, it does. I mean, it could look like a metal suit. I don't know. So I wrote Lancelot, though. Then I wrote rock and roll, rock and roll, hidden agenda, black project, black budget. Okay. And then I wrote down what looks like a triangle, some kind of a triangular craft, and it says manufactured. Okay. So this was my drawing for that. That was my sketch. It looks like a 3D model of a triangular shape. It looks like a pyramid or a triangular craft or something. I don't know.
Or a TR3B type thing.
Yes. Yeah. That's what it looks like. So, and I wrote manufactured. And I do want to make a note that I was getting a headache real bad when I was remote viewing this. My head was hurting, and I wrote down headache and head pain. I started getting a bad headache.
Did you get the feeling that someone didn't want you looking at that? I got that feeling.
When I got a headache, yeah, I did. Because it was not, I mean, it wasn't early in the morning when I did this target, but I can promise you I'd already had my coffee. Okay. So I don't usually get headaches in the morning like that.
Once you get to fix the coffee, you're good. Huh?
I'm good. Yeah. Once I have my coffee, I'm not going to do a target until I have my coffee. Okay. So, but anyways, yeah. So that's the first 3 stages right there. Barry, what do you think so far from that data? What do you think so far?
Well, you have rock and roll on there, so obviously it's just a cello case.
Could be. I did write rock and roll.
That's the only soft one I saw there. Everything else would point to something much different. You know, between that and the data with the others that we'll go through, I was getting the opinion also it is one of these things that's some type of a program that's including people. And you know, when I start thinking about that, one of these programs, one of these factions or something, and when I started thinking when I was reading the data, you know, I started thinking about, for some reason, those Brazilian face peeler things on the.
That was in Peru, I think.
Peru, yeah. But when they were described, you know, not just being on the disc, but having those suits on, and that one woman that got grabbed by one and she got away, and people helped her. She said that there 2 of them grabbed her, and she said one of them was speaking English with an accent, and the other was speaking straight English, no accent.
Oh.
you know, with like almost a what's the area like a Spanish influenced accent. One of them was speaking
Yeah.
with, but the other
Like
was speaking
with a Latin
straight
flair,
English.
Latin
Yeah,
accent.
yeah.
Yeah.
To where she was calling one of them the gringo, basically the white dude,
Oh, really?
because he was talking. That's the way he sounded. But they both had on these suits, and you know,
Wow.
there again, we go to a type of environmental suit or protection suit. I know there's a couple of like whistleblowers now that walk around with those environmental helmets on, don't they? Won't show their faces. I don't know. I'm not into that stuff, but hey, whatever. So, but I mean, it just maybe it all ties in. I don't know. I mean, I'm not a military guy, so I'm uninformed. But something's going on there when you keep bringing that up. But when you bring up Foo Fighters, I don't believe that we were involved with the Foo Fighters at first anyway. I think they were coming to investigate. And some of them were seen around the places that those bombs were blown up, especially in Nevada. You know what I mean? When they started coming around. So, and if that was something that is coming from dimensions, it's very interesting, you know. And number two is, as you mentioned earlier, how many of those things like that are on craft? You know, it makes you think of do you remember the original Twilight Zone? They made a movie in the 80s. They tried to remake this episode. It's with William Shatner, where he's the cat that had a nervous breakdown on a plane. He's flying on a plane home with his wife, and he sees it looks like a teddy bear on the wing, tearing up the wing. But it's supposed to be a gremlin, okay? And I'm looking at that, I'm thinking, is that some sort of gremlin? You're getting Nazi stuff with it or Hitler stuff with it? I'm like, what is that?
German, yeah.
I think that's a trip, personally. It
Yeah.
may not be an all answer for what it is, but it sure does put a lot on the table.
Sure does.
I'm gonna look over the chat and wonder what they think it is.
Wow. Well, let's see. Well, I'll keep an eye on the chat. Let's keep going with the data, okay? Because there's a good bit more. Okay, so the last thing I had on the stage 3 was that drawing. It looks like a triangular craft or something. Okay, some kind of a vessel of some sort. That's like a 3D model of it. Okay, so then I wrote down, the next thing I wrote down was Lance. Like I had just written Lancelot, which is weird. So Lancelot, and I wrote Lance and then fence. So my sensory data was driven, driving, and stuck. And then I wrote stuck like Chuck. Stuck like Chuck. And I was picking up on something that was metallic. So that was one of the tangibles. There was like metal. Something metal. It's interesting because we were just saying that the thing looks like maybe it was wearing a metal suit, like armor. Okay. So I wrote metal, stuck like Chuck, hard and a hard surface, a hard gray and metallic are in my data. Hard gray, metallic, hard surface. And then I was picking up on different shapes like round, like circle and triangle, large diameter. And then I wrote down scalar and scales. And then I wrote pronounced and object. So there's a pronounced object. Now, I did want to mention this comment that Steve Wolf, what's up, Steve? He said, I'm familiar with cello cases. A headstock compartment up top is much more narrow. So that means that the top of that cello case, if it was a cello case, it would have been a lot skinnier up at the top. And
see.
And so that's quite.
That's more confirmation.
Yeah. That's a fat one up there.
And I remember when this came out because everybody kept saying that she was a stewardess or a flight attendant. And the only thing that lady said I ever saw was like, she just said, hey, I was just taking selfies or something. And she didn't know anything about what was back there, anything. But she said she was on a business trip. She was not a flight attendant. That's about it.
Oh no, I've got her whole backstory. We'll go over it. We'll finish the data, I guess. Or do you want to go over?
I want to see what you found. I haven't seen a whole lot about it ever. Okay. After all these years.
Well, let's finish the data and then we'll go over it.
Anyway, which I don't.
Yeah, she was on a business trip. She was not an employee of that airline at all. Okay, so I was seeing some kind of pronounced object, and then I wrote the next thing on the third page. I wrote mirrored and mirroring. Okay. And I wrote parallel size, parallel universe, dimensional. And then I went down, I wrote cold, goosebumps, chills, frozen. And I started picking up, I literally thought I was like remote viewing something because I wrote down an Arctic breeze, temperature drop, because I felt the temperature drop in the room. Like as I was remote viewing, I felt the temperature drop. I wrote frozen tundra in Antarctica. That was some of my AOL, my analytic overlay. was that, because I was picking up on something that was frozen. Okay. And that was the end of that target. I shut the session down at that point. So interesting stuff, Barry. You know, you'd already kind of referenced the cold suits and things like that. Could be something like that. I mean, is there any way possible this was a cello or some kind of musical instrument, according to my data? I personally don't think so. According to my data, it is not a musical instrument at all. I think it's something a little more advanced. What do you think, Barry?
Okay. I'm just wait because I get excited, so I don't want to. I'm gonna sit here and just be cool, like the Fonz.
Yeah, be cool.
Yeah, the Fonz, man. Where's my motorcycle? I don't want to ride. I'm just kidding. But going back to that last data. Okay, on a serious note, you said something on there. You have the word mirror, right?
Mirror and mirror, mirroring and mirrored.
Okay, and then you have parallel universe, right?
I have parallel sides, parallel universe. Yes.
Okay. Now, just coincidentally, a few minutes ago, I had mentioned the quantum hologram. Mm-hmm. Okay, and how that looks like something being projected from either another universe or dimension using the quantum hologram, and it creates that what we're seeing there. Okay, that double. And I've said that before. When something goes through, the quantum hologram goes through the black hole, on the surface is a perfect copy created, which goes into the actually around the Mako, the magnetically returning collapsing object, which holds the information. But on that surface is the quantum hologram, that perfect copy. And we see that so often with these craft. When you see one going like this, and I would say you see two, then you see one, and that one's gone. That's when they go through that Mako, you're seeing that quantum hologram. And the same thing goes with orbs, when people see those faces in orbs. But right there, the reason why I'm saying this and probably pissing people off is because that whole thing I just mentioned, and I've said before how the Makos operate on conscious waves, which occur spherical and helical, and we have the microtubules of our bodies, which are spherical, and it's more particular for this, Jessica. I'm sorry. See, I'm getting excited. See, I'm sorry, but we have.
You're passionate about it. I love it.
We have the brain microtubules, and that consists of also what's called the mirror neuron network. And the mirror neuron network is how when I'm telling you a story, you can see it also. That is also the same as the quantum hologram that I'm talking about, the mirror neuron network. People can look this up. Wow. And you have the word mirrored on there. And then you have parallel universe.
Yes.
How interesting is that?
Yes.
They totally connect. That's all I'll say.
Oh, man. And Nathan says, so it was perhaps some holographic projection from a place or a system in Antarctica, maybe. Could be. I don't know with my data.
Perhaps, that's what I was curious. If it could be Antarctica, or are you picking up another dimension or planet that is even right here on Earth? We talked about a couple of days ago, I mentioned with Jock Doubleday too, how there are the dimensions on Earth are like the layers of an onion. You know how much you can before you get down to the middle. And when you go back to that book, gosh, I never have it in here, but Earth, the only planet of choice, when the Council of Nine, who said they were from the zone of cold, is what they called it. Okay, but it's another place that lays on Earth, and all these different dimensions that they called in that book civilizations with an S. And there were several of them very advanced that are here on Earth, but they're just in different frequency vibrational layers. And when you talk about detonating a hydrogen bomb, it's going to affect those dimensions, especially if they're other Earths, whatever you want to call that, okay? And you're going to have other people come and investigate. All of a sudden, we're here hanging, and let's say all of a sudden Europe blows up, Australia blows up. And what if we have a place that is almost like a utopia, which we don't? But what if we did? You had a peaceful place, then boom, you're going to find out what the heck happened. So just,
where Atlantis went, maybe?
Go back to I was asking you, do you think that could be a gremlin too? I mean, I don't know.
A gremlin.
I'm just throwing out options. I don't know, but could it be a gremlin too? I mean, just plain and fashion. Are those what's on planes all over the place, trying to sabotage or watching people, abducting people? I don't know. Messing with technology. That thing on the Twilight Zone, it was really because there's a man out there. There's a man out there, and every time somebody would look, it would take off. He said it jumps away when you're looking. Yeah. But you saw, but every time it's looking at him, it starts going over, just trying to pull up the wing, trying to wreck it. A gremlin. There's a remake of it with John Lithgow about 1985, the Twilight Zone movie.
Man,
and it's pretty good remake, that episode, at least that scene of the movie trilogy put together. But yeah, anyway, sorry, I just can't help but think about that because I thought there's some relevancy to it, Or you remember?
Well, I was
the gremlins in my tractor.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, of course I do. Yeah, I was just going to pull this. This is the lady who was screaming out that. She was like, that MFer was not real. She's like, I don't know. I forgot what she said exactly. She was like, she was warning everybody to get off the plane, basically.
Hey, you know that
somebody was shape-shifting by her.
Hey, that's a crisis actor, right?
Man, I just figured it probably was because I know.
Do that stuff on the plane, they start punching. They do skits like that. That's a skit.
You know what? Okay, that's literally actually that is one of the theories of this. Like she's part of because that's a whole rabbit hole, Barry. Yes. Her phone or something was pinged to like the TMZ headquarters.
It's called the Actors Guild. Okay. That's the rabbit hole, the Actors Guild. They're all looking for money.
Yeah. Well, and plus the strange thing about her is that I'm sure people see things like that, on airplanes and stuff. I don't know. Yeah. We know that these things
I don't doubt it all.
Do show up, but she
and the amount of people that see UFOs. Sorry.
Yeah, and after she was interviewed on, I don't know, somebody interviewed her. I don't think it was the same woman that was being interviewed. I don't think it looked like her. And so, yeah, it's that's just like I said, so another rabbit hole, but that could have been one of the slow drips of the fake alien invasion beginning right there. And there could have been some, like, I'm just going to say Freemason, Illuminati, secret society backing of that and all that. I don't know. I'm just saying it's just a theory.
Hey, I have a question too.
Mm-hmm.
So when looking at the data, could it be that you're also picking up on something that is just almost it's artificial of some type in terms of it could be, not just a quantum hologram, but maybe an android or, something, or I don't even want to say cyborg. Well, I don't know. Maybe more than just maybe something in the suit. It could be just something that's not even, What do you think? Is that possible? Looking at the data?
Yes. Yeah. It could be anything. Okay, it absolutely could be some kind of android. I think it was something with wearing something metallic, potentially. I think there was metallic involvement here. Okay, because whatever I was looking at was covered in metal. Okay, something metallic. Okay, that was the only tangible that I wrote down in all of my data. Okay, was this something metallic? So whatever that was covered in metal. But I think that there's definitely some kind of, I'm picking up on this, like, not like schmotzy. Let's say schmotzy. I wrote Hitler and Führer. So if that doesn't have something to do, and the Antarctica's at the very end. So like, if that doesn't have something to do with some kind of German base or something, I don't know what does, Barry.
Or the pyramid out there.
Foo Fighters. And here, this could be a pyramid. Okay.
Yeah,
that very well could be a pyramid. That doesn't have to be a spaceship. That could be a pyramid.
Wow. It sure could.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe even more likely with the data, actually, huh?
But the interesting thing is when I drew that, underneath it, I usually don't write words underneath my drawings, but I wrote manufactured underneath that drawing. So I wrote, like, whatever this is manufactured, like it was made. It was like, I'm going to say handmade. I don't know if it's made by humans or aliens or what, but there was something manufactured, whatever that is.
Hmm. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it's really kind of a trip to me, because my ultimate question is, what is it doing? What is its mission in there? Just looking at the back of her head? I don't think so. And what is the thing with the little? And that's about the only thing that's something that really I noticed too that the cello cases don't have, is that looks like something to put energy into, or some type of even a, what do you call it, like a plug-in for some type, like a data
plug-in, an outlet.
The Frankenstein looking little thing there.
Oh yeah, on its neck. Yeah, like an antenna or some kind of bolt, like a nut and bolt, whatever, like a bolt.
Well, it looks like something to plug something in, a plug-in to me.
It could be a robot. It's one of those Tesla robots.
I mean, because I went through a lot of things like, okay, does it look like it could possibly be manted when you look at the things? Because when they did the layover to say it's a guy that's with the headphones on and everything, they kind of laid a person over that, kind of overlaid it, and it did not match.
I mean, the legs would not fit in that seating area, because look how big. Okay, so that woman beside him, there's a person beside that, whatever that is. It looks like there's a woman sitting next to it, and it looks like she's a normal average height, because this woman right here with the red hair in the front, who took the selfie, who we will, maybe we should go over the backstory behind this, all of her backstory, because it looks like that they're probably average height. I don't know, I don't know the measurements of those seats, but my God, that would be like a Shaquille O'Neal, or I don't know.
Yeah, it'd be a big
Kobe
person,
Bryant, somebody really tall, right? It'd be
Mm-hmm.
somebody really tall sitting. That'd be like a quarterback or an NBA player sitting beside her. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's just
how come it's phased out and has the shiny and she doesn't, and nobody else on there is phased out? You know what I mean? Those are just things like that we have to look at. I can see
there are lights there.
Clearly.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
I don't know.
true.
Those lights and planes can get kind of bright.
It's still kind of weird though. It's a weird light cast on that. Sometimes it's too easy to just dismiss that as pareidolia.
And I also wanted to bring up that a couple of people like Don in the chat and Space Cow are all saying Striper. I don't know if you guys were saying this is the logo for Striper. I think that's what Don said. Maybe that right there. I don't know. I don't know what Striper is.
Yeah, I don't know either. That's again over my head.
Striper to hell.
Aircraft company
says, to hell with the devil. What? I don't know what that is. Can somebody tell us what that is? Okay. Henry says World War II German rocket fuel was very caustic. A protection suit, a ghost of World War II soldier, maybe? Could be. It could be a ghost. They were calling it a ghost alien. But I mean, we're going to talk about ghosts on planes in just a little bit, y'all. Okay, we'll talk about that, because they do happen. They do occur. Now let's go over some of this information with this. Oh, Adam Ross says it wanted to be seen. So it wanted to be seen. Now, let me tell you why she took a selfie. This woman said she never, ever took a selfie, ever. I don't know if she's never taken one, period, but she was not into taking selfies. And Bigfoot Dwarf said, where is the alien's flight ticket? That's right. We need to go back and find out who was sitting in that seat, Bigfoot Dwarf. Good point. Good point. They check everybody's tickets, Barry. I'm just saying. They check everybody's tickets. All right. So her name is Olesya Podkorytov.
That's the worst part of this whole thing is her last name.
That's her name. That's as good as you're going to get right there. That's as good as you're going to get. Let's see. Oh, it's a Christian metal band. Christian metal band. Yes, ma'am. Okay. I guess it's a Christian metal band. I don't know. Thank you. Thank you, Don. Striper.
Oh, Striper. Okay. Striper.
Like that. Okay, so Olesya, let's just call her O. I'm just kidding. Olesya, Miss OP. She did not even see this thing. She didn't even notice it until she put the picture on social media, Barry. Social media users suggested the shadowy image was a ghost or an alien. Now, okay, so she was a businesswoman on a trip. She discovered this ghost alien after it went up online. And she says she had never noticed it. And she had been on a business trip and said that she was not sure while she suddenly decided to take a picture of herself because it was not something that she normally did. And this is kind of awkward. I got to tell you, it is kind of awkward. It's almost like it's not her full face. It's just like her eyes. Like, why would she even take that? It's just weird, Barry, that she was compelled to take a picture of half of her face from her upper lip above her head. And that's the picture she took. I mean, that's just weird. It's a little weird, but people do weird stuff. Okay. We live in a weird world and people do weird things.
If you put that back up too for just 1 sec.
Okay.
Something that some people mention is that there appears to be another entity in the back on the left there in the back, that black deal. I kind of thought that was the curtain that maybe is between the flight attendants and the normal people in the restroom there. Somebody pulled it back a little. I could be wrong though. I mean, maybe it is a portal or an entity. I don't know. I mean, I guess that's up to the people to judge. But what do you all think in the chat?
Well,
do you think that's a portal or an entity?
Well, Henry says her eyes look worried. Okay. Well, here's another thing, Barry. Let's think about this for a minute. Screen memories. Okay. Screen memories. How many times, okay, and I can speak on one instance that I had been given a remote viewing target of a person who had missing time. Okay. And it was Tex from Texas Front Porch, actually. We did a show about that. And I told him after I had remote viewed his missing time, it turned out I had seen him be abducted by ETs. And he couldn't even, it happened so fast. It was like a bolt of lightning. And he had his friend there with him, or his research buddy was there. I think his former research buddy, he made sure to let me know they do not research together anymore. He said, but this person was with him.
Sorry.
I don't even know this person. Okay. So it doesn't matter. But I'm just saying, but this person was with him. And I had seen when I was remote viewing, I'd seen somebody else run or like take off running, but they were eventually taken too. Okay. They got taken up in a lightning bolt, like boom, like went up. It was like lightning struck and they were gone. And then lightning struck the next person, they were gone. But I was seeing like a Blair Witch Project kind of scene where there was like it turns out that person who was running, who ran, but he got abducted too, by the way, according to my remote viewing data, what I was seeing. He had a camera. He had his phone out and he was actually filming or something. And he did not have any recollection of this video or of making a video of him like running and dropping his phone. You could see him running. Okay. So he had no recollection of that, Barry. So imagine if there was somebody who had a bad feeling, like maybe this plane's about to get hijacked. Okay. There's something wrong, right? What would you do? You might take your phone and just take a picture to see what's behind you because you don't want to turn around and look because there's something wrong. That MFer back there is not real. And I got a bad feeling about it. I'm just going to pull my phone out and I'm going to take a picture so I don't have to turn my face around and look at it. Okay. It could be that. And she just doesn't remember. I mean, she remembers taking the picture, I guess, but she didn't know why. So maybe there's something more to that.
Could be.
Yeah.
That's interesting theory. You know,
I mean, it's a theory. Okay. So it is just from speaking from experience with that Tex incident that happened out there. She said, so this is her quote. She said, I uploaded the picture on my social media page and then all the questions and comments hit me. Only after that, I realized there was a bizarre looking image of a creature behind me. Turn the page real quick. The shape, she said, was humanoid and looked more like a large alien of the type normally seen in movies. A ray of lights can also be seen going through its head. There are no signs of eyes on the figure, just a one-piece dark green body. Some online suggested it is not an alien, but a ghost. Victor Lunev, commenting on behalf of a Russian Aero Center, said, pilots and stewards are very superstitious, and maybe there is a reason. In my experience, I have never encountered anything of that kind. Maybe we could explain it with reference to some of the basic laws of physics. That guy was not believing that was an alien, but who said superstitious. So maybe, I think maybe he was referring to it maybe being a ghost.
I disagree. Those look like eyes or things back here for whether it's a suit or not. Those look like eyes on that to me back there. Going up, I see two of them. I mean, or at least a place for eyes. I don't. You say no eyes or anything. That's not what I see there. I mean, now whether that's a helmet or not, I can't say. But I mean, but it does. It looks like there's a place for sight there.
Well, here's the thing, Barry. They're thinking in terms of human anatomy. Okay, so when they say there's no eyes, they're thinking of like straight ahead eyes, like humans, bam, like that. They're not thinking of like eyes down here like a praying mantis.
Are you saying I'm weird? I think about aliens instead of.
No, I said not you. I said him, that guy. The people that are like they're like, oh, we don't I don't know what that is. Okay, because those are the normies. The normies are not thinking like us. Okay, and that's what. And plus, there's also people that don't want to freak out. He's with the plane company or whatever. Yeah. And so he doesn't want to freak people out so people don't fly. That's how he makes his living. Yeah. So of course it's going to be, oh, that was just one isolated incident. And that woman was, it was just a lens flare or something. I mean, it was a ghost. It wasn't like, hey, we have aliens here. I have 2 more targets to go over, Barry.
Yeah.
Should we go over? Okay. So should we go over the second session of this first target? Okay.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so I did this one again. The data is a little odd for the second session. Okay, so Barry had me go over this one more time to the audience, okay, in case you guys are wondering. It's the same target, but another session, right, Barry?
Hey, before you start, let me ask, do you feel like you were being interfered with on this one, on this one specifically?
I don't know. I have to go through the data. I don't remember. Okay, so I'll tell you when I get through there. I was told to beware. Beware. So I was getting direct messaging from somewhere. Okay. I was I got the message that there is a coming deception. And it said, beware. That was the last thing I wrote down on this target. The coming deception. Beware. With an exclamation point behind it. Okay. So, and that's cool because, I was just talking with William Nighthawk yesterday. By the way, you got some shout outs yesterday, Barry. But I was talking with him. We were talking about basically the Great Deception. Okay. All this is coming up possibly in our future. And he was like, I don't believe for 1 minute that this is, there's a lot of holograms and stuff. He was like, I don't think there's going to be an alien invasion. It's all going to be faked stuff, he said. But he believes in ETs and stuff, of course. But he was just saying, like, there's something being projected basically out. For
actually, I heard that. So thank you both for that. Thank him for that too. That was really nice. Mm-hmm. I was on the highway, so I wasn't in chat, but I was listening in.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, of course.
But yeah, thank you. That was real cool. And
Project Bluebeam. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's just get to this one. Okay. Let's get to this one. Okay. So this is the second session that I had on this one target. And this may make, I don't know. Here we go. Okay. The sensory data. I don't even know if this makes any sense. The sensory data is wavy, cursed, smooth, intense, spinning, clicking, and connected. Okay. And the analytic overlay, I wrote smooth sailing, intensive, factory. I was getting factory data for this one. So factory settings, factory initiated, initial goal, and I was picking up on rover and red rover, and I wrote red rum down as well. But I was picking up on spiraling data, like spiraling downward, land and landing, spiral to oneself, I wrote down, and connected. I just got a bunch of connected and spiraling and factory data. I felt like this was a very industrial type of a target, actually. And
it didn't feel like it did the first. Did it feel like that the first time? It didn't, did it?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't as like factory. I don't know. Yeah, it was because. Oh no! Because actually, this one lines up with the second target you gave me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So this data is actually much more connected to the second target than it is the first target. Okay. But anyways, let's go to the next page. Okay, so I wrote down I wrote derby and topsy-turvy, limited time, held back, industrial. And I was getting a lot of industrial data. It was like voltage, electric, and electricity. I drew like a lightning bolt, basically. And I wrote electric bolt of lightning, sneaky trickster, deception, coming deception, and beware. And then I ended the target. So I don't know.
Well,
what was the second target? Let's talk about the second, because this one's actually more connected to the second target for some reason.
the second target is what is the origin of that thing? Where did it come from?
Okay.
Yeah, and you know, one thing about that one there, I know it's a little odd, like you said, but something that comes up again is that thing is not good. It's negative. It's coming with all this negative stuff that is even worse than a gremlin. You know what I mean? It's amazing that this keeps coming up. That's been consistent in all the data so far.
Yeah. Okay. Well, where did this thing come from? Okay. So where did whatever this is come from? All right. Let me do this real quick. Let me hide that comment. Okay. Let's go on to this. This is the second target. Those were the first two were like one target done twice. This is the second target. This is the origin of whatever this thing right here is. Where in the heck did this thing come from? Okay, so my sensory data for where this thing came from, I wrote down cold, blue, limited, upsurge, flowing, abstract, and cautious. That was my sensory data. Now, my analytic overlay for this is electric, IT electric. I can't read my own writing tonight. Sorry. So I'm just going to say electric. So it was electric. I wrote collagen or college. I wrote college. Ice, framed, go after, limited edition, go fast, throw caution to the wind. I know this stated making a whole lot of sense, y'all, to me, but catalyst. I wrote catalytic converter, vehicle parts, repair shop, garage, hangar one. Hangar's where you keep an airplane, Barry, by the way. Okay. So I wrote hangar and staffed. And then I drew a hangar. What I thought I was drawing a hangar with some kind of something in there. A hangar with these. It's like a garage with, could be airplanes, okay, or whatever. I don't know. It's a hangar. So I mean, I think I was picking up probably on the airplane more than I was that thing, but I don't know. So I wrote down hangar one, and staffed. Let me go to the next page.
Or okay, just they're similar.
I wrote staff shortage, field notes, hustle and flow. I wrote, and I was picking up on like going underground. So I wrote an arrow pointed down, and I was like down, underground, buried secrets, workflow, faculty, staff, liminal lighting, and I wrote deep underground military base or underground base. Is what I wrote down. Okay, so we go to the next page. And then I saw an aerial view on a map. I was seeing, like, I was definitely up high looking down, and I wrote aerial view on map. And I was seeing the overhead view of structures on the ground. And one of them looked like a triangle, and the other one looked like the top of a pyramid or something. I don't know if you can see that. So that's like what I was seeing. I was seeing like, it kind of reminded me of like when I remote viewed that place on Mars. You know what I mean? The Cydonia complex or something. I was kind of seeing something like that. That's what I thought I was looking at.
Really?
And I actually saw a pyramid. I wrote pyramid. Structure, water. I was seeing a structure and I saw water. I saw like a river or some kind of water source that was like flowing. And I wrote pyramid, river, or water source nearby. A pyramid with a river or water source nearby. Wow. And then I was seeing tubes, and I wrote lava tubes. And then I wrote I wrote lava tubes, and then I wrote craft with a question mark beside it, and I wrote tubular and oblong, dormant and stasis. And I drew what looks like those are either crafts or lava tubes right there. So, but anyways, that's what I was seeing. Okay. But there was something in a hanger, like that's really interesting because, like, the first target I was seeing like something somewhere cold. I was seeing like something like an Antarctica base or something, a base in Antarctica, and something that was maybe German, like a German base or something like that. And then on this one, I'm seeing a hangar with vehicles or some kind of vessels in it. And now I'm seeing like things like underground and lava tubes. We talk about lava tubes sometimes, don't we?
Well, yeah, that it's interesting. That's always kind of pertained more to Sasquatch,
Yeah.
and that they use lava tubes like the ones that aren't still active, obviously, but that they use those for underground access and various other things. So that's fascinating. But then we've got to the point of where how many UFOs you see going in and coming out of volcanoes that are active. It's been seen quite a bit,
Yeah, that's right.
Wow, and also when dealing with whether this is Antarctica or whatever, they can still use the quantum hologram there, here on this planet, still be done here. And still that thing there. And, it's real interesting is, something that has come to my mind, not once, but several times, and I just kind of dismiss it. But a long time ago, I gave you another target that was the little girl in the field. And there's the thing behind her, okay? And
it was the Solretta spaceman or something, right?
Yeah, yes. Well done, my friend. Yeah, and and I had I was always hesitant to give you that one because I got attacked for my theories over that several times. But there is something to me that I just kind of correlated that thing with something that now is called a Valkyrie. Is that pronounce that Valkyrie, Valkyrie, right?
Valkyrie.
Anyway, yeah, Valkyrie. Thank Valkyrie robot, and it's for Mars and for the moon. It's one of NASA's robots. And when you start looking at some of the later models, they look incredibly like that thing. That is not some woman turned around with her deal, like they're saying. Okay, and I take things like that and kind of cross-reference it with like what Otis Carr and Ralph Ring said about the inflationary space vacuum space vehicle that they have a patent for, and that they got in there and they come out and they were in some field apparently and they can't remember it, and there was like all these flowers in the bottom of that machine, like they've been out there picking these flowers and they couldn't remember it. They're only technically gone for like a minute or two, but they must have been out there for a long time.
They got mind wiped.
Yeah, they said they never used that thing again for that reason. Very interesting story. But when dealing with that, I thought that was probably time technologies they're experimenting with, and they're using those Valkyrie robots to do it. You know what I mean? That's kind of been my theory on that. But that right there, are we looking at something similar there 40 years later that's far more advanced, but they're still doing that stuff? Whether it's dark, probably dark factions, normal G-Mint or whatever. I don't know. There's so many people that know more than I, but I think that stringing the clues, playing little Sherlock Holmes here, or maybe Bruce Wayne, who's a better detective, I think, than Sherlock Holmes.
You think Bruce Wayne's better? Yeah.
He's a better detective. Yeah, Batman was a great detective, for real.
Well, I have not I can't remember if I thanked you yet, Skip. Okay. I can't remember what I do from one second to the next. Thank you, Skip, for that super sticker. I appreciate you. Cool show. The team. Yes. Thank you, Skip. Thanks for being here. And also, let's see, Native Plant Goddess. Thank you so much for that super sticker as well. I appreciate your support. That is so sweet of y'all. Very much.
A couple of friends of mine are in here too. I saw that it's moving so fast.
What's up, Barry's friends?
Definitely, yeah. One of them you pulled up their comments, so that's cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's cool, and clients too. That's cool, man. It's cool to see people coming into some of these groups too, into your group that are from other groups I've worked with. You know what I mean? It's pretty cool in that way, because I think the work we've done has been more solid, and the longevity has been much more. Anyway,
oh yeah, I love that. I know, right? We've been working together for a while, since the first time we met, Barry. At Camp Disclosure, the first time I ever spoke about Bigfoot to the public. ever.
I had no idea that was your first conference.
That was
That
my
still blows
first
me away.
conference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look how far you've come now. I think you've done more than me.
Golly.
Yeah, you've done a bunch of them. That's cool, man. You
Man,
deserve that.
I got more coming up. I got
deserve
two. I got one tomorrow night and one on Saturday. I got some events, and then I've got two more after that are on my calendar, and more that have not put on the calendar yet. So, yeah, I love it.
Congratulations.
I would have never thought. I would have never thunk it, man, that I'd be speaking about Bigfoot publicly all over the place. But
You're speaking a lot more than you. I think you surpassed Sasquatch quite some
Yeah.
time ago.
Yeah.
You walked a little faster than Sasquatch, I think, but you're doing a
Yeah.
lot more than that now. You know,
Oh,
which is
yeah.
really, 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 really cool.
Well, it's fun.
You know, off the record, just real quick, since it's you and I, we could do this.
Okay.
You know, I don't know if you saw Thinker Thunker. I sent it to you. I think Thinker Thunker put out that new video about that Russian Yeti thing, or Russian.
I don't think I've seen that.
Jumping on. He put out about four days ago. I advise everybody to check that out. It's really a good analysis, and it's one that I kind of only halfway looked at, but now I'm paying more attention. It's this thing that's the kids look real scared, but this thing is jumping on the trees and it's moving. He does an analysis on it, and you can see this thing actually flying towards one of these trees. It looks like almost Superman, Christopher Reeve. It's almost vertical, you know. Yeah, and it grabs one of them and it swings around it like a gymnast, and then lands and takes off. I mean, it was so agile what you see this thing doing. And he was saying, I agree with him. He's saying, I'd pay like $40 to see somebody put on their Bigfoot suit with the big old feet and do some moves like they were a gymnast.
I'm getting sweaty thinking about that. It's hot. I'm hot right now, and if putting on a suit and then doing gymnastics, so it's a no-go. I don't know how people that do the mascots at the high school football games and stuff, I don't know how they do it. It's hot in those things.
The one that used to be at our college, they had a little fan, and a little stand, and a little fan blowing on that cap. There was a big old suit too.
Yeah.
You know, it's fascinating because my brother had a client. He does fiber optics, but he had a client. He calls one day. He comes on. He says, "Man, I had somebody had a Bigfoot encounter. A client said that they had a place in Colorado. I said they did not believe that at all." About Bigfoot at all, and the kids kept saying that there was stuff out there, but they didn't believe it. And they were leaving, and they're going across a bridge. It's like from their ranch or whatever. And the client told him that this thing came out. The Sasquatch came out and actually jumped over their station wagon. He kind of described it like a Clark Griswold type of station wagon. But I guess that he said that she said that it jumped and dove over the car, and it landed and did a rollout like a gymnast.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it was so agile. And this thing is about, 7.5 feet tall. And my brother was saying this lady was the look on her face. And she was saying that she didn't believe those things could possibly exist. They've been out there for years, never seen anything like that. So it's just, we do like that. And the way that she had kind of told my brother that she thought it was almost trying to show off.
Probably was. I don't know. Carrie said that it was a big Sasquatch Cirque du Soleil.
What?
Cirque du Soleil. You've never been to Cirque du Soleil?
No, I don't even know what that is.
I'm hilarious.
All sorts of stuff tonight. You guys are saying all sorts of stuff. I have no idea what it is. I feel like I'm like kind of little dim.
We've got you stumped tonight, Barry. That's the first. I went to Cirque du Soleil when I was a kid, and it's like I don't know if I guess it's French apparently, but it's a whole bunch of like, what do you call that? Like tightrope walkers and gymnasts and like people that are like swinging from, I don't know, like circus. But I don't know. It's wild. It's just a whole bunch of people that can contort their bodies. Okay. It's wild. It's really wild. A little weird too, a little wacky, but it's kind of interesting to watch.
Oh, good.
It's interesting.
Okay, now you're saying something I understand.
Body contortionists.
Okay. We have something that does that. It's the the circus of darkness or something. Bunch of devilish looking stuff, people jumping around there. It's
that's
nice
kind of the same. Cirque du Soleil is like the circus of the sun or stars. I don't know. Soleil. What is Soleil, y'all? Is that the sun?
They're contorting on the rings and stuff. I don't know.
Contorting. Oh my gosh.
I'm a fan of the Terminator series. There was one called the Sarah Connor Chronicles that didn't run but like one season, But they had a scene where these Terminators are fighting each other. They're both females.
Acrobatics.
And one of them is actually in real life is one of those contortionists. So when they're fighting, the other Terminator's taking her legs and wrapping it around her. It looks really good. You know what I mean? Anybody can Google that on YouTube. Sarah Connor Chronicles, Elevator, Terminator Fight. And you'll check it out. It's pretty good. It's worth 4 minutes to watch.
I have to watch that. I need to go back and rewatch all those movies. Now that we've done all these targets, we've had all these conversations. This stuff is like we're applying it to real life situations now, and stuff. It's like, man, those movies are just they didn't make sense to me as a kid, and I wasn't really interested in them. But now as an adult, I got to go back and watch them all. They were showing us the truth.
Well, you know, there's some things that I think are once again legit in those movies. Like, for example, the Sarah Connor Chronicles. They had one of them that came back to get Connor, but it got blown like through this bomb blew it off and blew its skin off. Okay, so it put on like a motorcycle outfit and was jacking people, but it went to one of the scientists that would discover how to make the actual plasma and the skin that they put over the cyborgs, and it brought the dude blood and then actually completed his equations on the board. And he's looking at him. He's got this thing of, can you do it? Like that. And then he actually see the dude put him in the blood and bring him up and like actually cut eyes into him. And when you look at the scientists talking about the equations that are on the board for this, what do we call it? What do you call their artificial skin? Not plasma.
Their artificial skin.
Well, yeah, it's called. It's not a rubber skin. Oh gosh, I should know that. A geek I am, I should know that. Yeah, it's but
that's
yeah,
what I have.
God, it's not bioplasma. But anyway, point being that it's the endodermis, ENDOD.
Epidermis. There's epidermis.
Epidermis. Yeah. Gosh, that was hard, man.
I wear epidermis personally.
Anyway, but that skin actually, the equations were real to a degree. Virtual TV. That's it's kind of like the deal with Taja, where she's playing the black NASA scientists, the females.
Yeah.
She was doing the equations on the board. Remember, trying to prove that she knew what she was talking about, and everybody. Those are real equations that are working out there. You know what I mean? But when it comes, sorry, I need to get off this. When it comes to Terminator 2, a lot of people say, well, how did something you and I have dealt with before, which is liquid metal, okay, sentient metal, which is what that Terminator 2 was, how did it come through the vortex when you had to have flesh? That's how the cyborgs came through. They were covered with human flesh. You know, Reese told them that. The cyborg covered with human flesh, you know. But they actually put a ball of flesh around that metal, so it was able to come through the vortex, through the time vortex. They don't show that in the movie and tell you that, but I think it's important to know. And we're dealing with stuff like that right now, and these things we're talking about digital cyborgs, digital twin cyborgs. And you know, I found out what digital twins were. I was like tripping hearing about the downloading and how they're doing that consciously. But then when the spirit said, put in cyborg behind it. And I just put that digital twin cyborgs and all the stuff come up.
Whoa.
I was like, whoa. But Google's saying, well, those are technically two words that don't go together, but they give you all the stuff with it. You know what I mean?
You know what? Somebody in the chat actually had said robot grandma tonight. Robot grandma. Do you remember that story? I did a remote viewing target that Arkeem had given me, and his fiance sent it over to me, and it turned out to be this is a real event that happened. This little boy claimed that it was a woman that looked just like his grandma, and at Mount Shasta of all places, Barry, and she took him. She basically kidnapped him and took him while his family was camping out in a national park. And took him into a cave, and there are all these like mannequins and people's belongings in there that had cobwebs and dirt on them. And she did experiments on him, and she said that she was from, I think they were from another planet, or they were from outer space or somewhere, and they had put him in his mommy's belly. And he said that she was a robot because when she turned her face, it glistened a little bit, and he could tell that she looked like someone who was controlled by a remote control, is what he said. He was only 3.5 years old, 4 years old, something like that.
Well,
she was a robot.
Well, don't you remember the maid that the Jetsons had?
Rosie. Was it Rosie?
Mm-hmm. Wasn't she like that? You know, there's other things too. There's things like there was a movie. Gosh, that's very interesting. Even Joan, what's the name, lady that died with the plastic surgery? What's her name? Joan
Rivers.
Joan Rivers. Spaceballs. Yeah. She played a thing like that in Spaceballs. If you remember.
Spaceballs. That's a good movie.
Seriously.
John Candy. Oh man.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
Tuvok from Star Trek Voyager. He's a brother out there. We found Blake. More people remember him from doing that than they do remember him as Tuvok the Vulcan. That's a trip, isn't it? Anyway. But you come up against that, in some of these movies that just completely went out of style. There was one called, I was really young then, but it was a movie called Heartbeats. If you happen to remember that. Heart beeps, BEEPS, and it starred that guy that got his neck broken by that wrestler Jerry Lawler from Taxi, Andy, whatever his name was, Eddie Kaufman. But he's playing a robot, and he's got his wife. She's like a robot grandma type thing, robot mama, and it's all about these robots that are sentient and they're trying to partially get their freedom or whatever, and they're being harassed. And there's another movie that just a little bit later than that called Runaway with Tom Selleck and old racist Gene Simmons. No, seriously. And that's a good movie too. That's supposed to be about a few years before now. And, they were having a problem with the robots were rebelling because Gene Simmons was reprogramming them. But they were having situations where some of the robots were like playing parents or playing maids. Tom
like
Selleck
Westworld.
But they were going crazy, kind of like going nuts. Yeah, so I think that's always been there. You know what I mean?
Well, they have that whole series that I watched for a while. This is a long time ago when my son was like first born, and I guess I had time to watch TV when he was taking naps and stuff. I don't remember. There was a time where I used to get to watch television at some point.
I see. That doesn't sound like you watching TV.
It doesn't. But there was a point in my life where I watched TV. Okay, and I would watch Westworld. It would come on our TV. It'd come on the TV, just magically appear. But yeah, I watched Westworld and stuff, and that was always very interesting because it's like, where does it's almost like the robots became sentient or whatever, I guess. Like they were, where was the line drawn between like them being human and being robots? You couldn't really tell the difference. You couldn't tell who was who, who's a robot and who's not. And those robots were being used for nefarious reasons and stuff, mostly rich men going out to live out their wildest fantasies, let's just say, with those robots. Yeah.
Wow. I'm trying to remember, like, because you have robots, and then like there was an episode of Lost in Space where you have that robot, warning, everybody liked that robot, but you had Robbie the robot showed up trying to show him up, and Robbie the robot was called a different type of robot. What was it? Omni. Oh, I should know that. It's not cyborg, but it's a different type of a robot that's like much more advanced and able to take on human traits. And was telling that robot, said, well, Robin's like me more than you, and you're inferior. That type of a deal there. And it was like a weird deal. It's supposed to incorporating more emotions into that type of a robot. But it was not called an android. It was not called, I'll find it. But it's just interesting when we start dealing with those concepts. Because I remember when I heard it some time ago, I looked it up, and there's all the stuff where science has gone since 1966 when that was made, Henry
Bluer says, Gene Autry's Radio Ranch, 1930s? Wow. City Underground with Robots. Was that movie made in the 1930s? My goodness. City Underground with Robots. Man, that's pretty cool. I have not heard of that one, but there's a lot. You guys... This is the best chat on the internet, by the way. Thank y'all so much for all being here.
Your chat's always great.
It is, isn't it good? We have the best chat. Let's see. Did you mute yourself and ask Siri a question?
Yeah, and I got the answer I was looking at. I was just trying to find out what they call that, because it's a very serious name when it comes to robotics. And it was robotics going to the forward. but it's not a normal one we hear. It's a sci-fi geek name. You know what I mean? That type of a deal.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing. This is so funny, Brandon. I just remembered that part of that scene where they comb the desert. Yes, that was funny.
Yeah, that was Tuvok. From sorry, you don't watch Star Trek, so you don't know. The brother plays basically a melanin dominant Spock.
Oh my gosh,
he's a Vulcan.
That was the funny. That was so funny.
He's been on several Star Treks. He's on the movies. He played on Voyager. But he says, man, he says, as much stuff as I've done, I was on Star Trek for 10 years, but people come up to me and say, hey, you're the brother we ain't found. I don't say the word blank. That's the only thing he said in that movie. It was like a 20-second deal. And he said more people recognized that than from anything else. I think that's hilarious.
Oh my gosh, that is a classic movie. I'm going to definitely have to go back and watch that one. And let's see, the best damn podcast.
Yeah, he had his Schwartz. It wasn't very big. That was a great movie, man. They're doing a remake with the originals, except for John Candy, obviously. I've seen that's come through my feed several times. I bet you I go and see that one.
Oh yeah, I would. The best damn podcast says the big fear is not if robots will become self-aware, but how will humanity handle robots becoming sentient? And I'm team human. I'm not a fan of robots. I'm sorry. That whole uncanny valley thing, and I don't like robots. I'm sorry.
I just watched a sci-fi special a couple of nights ago, and it was just, I can't sleep at night. It's like 4 a.m., but it was called Megan, like Magayn, and it's about the little girl. Yeah, I mean that when she got down on all fours like a Sasquatch and was chasing after that kid. Did you see that one?
No, I did not watch it.
I gotta tell you, it was kind of a little creepy.
Spider Girl?
Yeah, she's Spider Girl. She was running after this kid because the kid picked her up, was dogging out that little girl that she was synced with, and saying this thing ain't nothing, throwing it around and stuff. And then when she walked away, he grabbed him, took his ear off, said, "You need to learn some manners." And he tried to run, and she got on all fours and started chasing after him like the way a Sasquatch would do.
Let me tell you, that is why I want the blueprints of every kind of robot that's made, so we can know where the soft spots are, if you know what I mean. Okay?
Yeah.
Know where to aim.
Well, it was interesting. She was a toy,
and
she was paired with that little girl. That was just really bizarre type of a deal, And I brought up again, I want to go too much, but when dealing with sentient life, going back to Star Trek, that Picard series is all about synthetic people and how they had reproduced data and how they were enslaving them. And I'm wondering, really, when you start looking at this issue of digital twins, how far out is that really? And we talk about the terraforming of TRAPPIST-1. Seriously, Jessica, how far is that for real? The slavery problem we're having here.
It's not good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not good. I mean, it's not just here; it's on other planets as well.
Sorry.
Robbie was a
Robotoid. Thank you, Robotoid. Oh, they're great.
Ona.
Thank you, Ona. Oh man, okay. Oh, that was driving me nuts. Thank you. Oh, okay, yeah. But when you look up Robotoid, really what they're supposed to be, especially from the '60s going on through Doctor Who and stuff, it's quite interesting what they say about Robotoids. You can see how that factors into our civilization for real right now. I still like the era we called them robots. Not everything was quote unquote AI,
Yeah.
Yes. A Robotoid. God,
when I hear Robotoids, I think of heartburn for some reason. I don't know. Maybe that's Rolaids.
What do you mean?
That sounds like something I used to take for heartburn. It's Rolaids. Sorry. It's close.
It's like loose and Jolly Ranchers, right? I got
you. Right. I'm just making that connection in my mind somewhere. I don't know. One of my recurring. Okay, I'm not sure if this is a recurring dream. I can't recall because it was one of the most memorable dreams I've ever had. Okay, and it involves. I don't know if this was from a past life or a future life. I don't know. It could have just been a dream. But I have had a dream. I think I may have mentioned this on a show before, maybe in the past. But one of the most profound dreams I've ever had was a few years ago. I dreamt that we're having like a robot takeover of the world. It was real. It was very real. Like I was living this in my dream, and my goal, I had to protect my son, You know what I mean? And I was being chased by, the robots were hunting me and hunting my son. And I remember being, maybe I shouldn't say this publicly, okay, because if it hadn't happened yet. But anyways, it was weird because in my dream, like I had these women who I didn't know, and they were guiding me to a safe spot to go hide. And I didn't know them, but they knew who I was. They knew my son. And they found, let's just say I found somewhere to go to get out of there. And these women were like kind of blocking the way when the robots came to kick the door down. And then my dream went into the consciousness of the woman. I know this is wild, but I'm just whatever. But my conscious, like I switched from like being me and being there with my son to being one of the women in the room who looked out the window at the sun setting. And because that was like, she knew she was about to die. So she just wanted to see the sunset one last time as the robots unalived her in the dream. I mean, it was like the most cinematic, wild dream I've ever had, but it was very real, Barry. It's very real. I should probably write a movie. Probably.
Really weird to say that we're even going this direction with this. You know, just again, it's weird because I wound up getting these references, and it took a long time for me to accept that spirit was communicating with me with entertainment too, scenes, and why I could remember every scene from every blasted movie or TV show I ever saw in my life. It was a curse when I was a kid. Showtime and Cinemax showed the same stuff every 3 days. I was toast the first day. Anyway, so but it's so interesting to hear you say this because I've been enjoying a lot the last few weeks. On YouTube, there's a channel called Doctor Who Classics, and they're downloading a lot of the Tom Baker full episodes, and that was my favorite Doctor. And I just got through watching one a couple of days ago that they put on. Is one of my favorites. The name of the episode is called The Robots of Death. And what it is, the TARDIS lands on like a mining vehicle that's on another planet, but it's humans that are mining other planets for resources. Okay. And it's a sand planet. And they land there, but somebody that grew up with robots has undercover, but he's reprogramming the robots to kill people. And it gives this one cat, this one cat has a breakdown. He's like some sort of an agent, but he has a breakdown that they called it. First they say it's Grimwave disease. And then they look at the doctor, says, robophobia. Robophobia, what it really was being around these robots. They don't have regular human features or human impulses.
The uncanny valley.
Drives normal people crazy being around the robots too long. That gives them robophobia.
I am robophobic. I'll admit it. I really am. I don't like robots. I really don't because there's no soul there.
Really?
I've been literally chased down and I had to run for my life from robots in my dream, and it was horrific. It was horrific.
You would like
it was bad.
Runaway then. You better keep watching Tom Selleck when he was Magnum PI. You don't want to see Runaway then. You're not gonna like Gene Simmons. You're not gonna like what that's showing about the robots. Yeah, it's like a Terminator, but in a different way. Yeah. You know. By the way, something else I'm gonna tell everybody real quick. And this is just like you say, it's just for entertainment purposes, right? There is a thing that is called Hydra vulgaris parasite. Hydra vulgaris, vulgaris. And they found that in the Moderna vaccines, okay?
Oh.
Under like 600X, and one of those companies too. And when you actually look at that creature, this Hydra vulgaris.
You said a creature?
It's also being put with graphene oxide.
Oh, hey.
And the thing about the Hydra vulgaris is
for entertainment purposes only. Hold on, Barry.
It's also self-assembly.
Wait, before you go on, that's one of those things that we get in trouble on YouTube for. Okay, so when you talk about the V word, I'm just saying it's okay. It is what it is. We got to be careful what we say about it. This is for entertainment purposes only, y'all. Yeah. We are not medical professionals. Okay, go ahead, Barry. Yeah, some kind of you said a creature. Hydra
vulgaris again. Okay.
Okay.
See, I no offense, but I mean, I'm going on my channel. I I don't go with that. That's
Yeah,
probably
I
why I
can't
got
afford
banned.
to over
I
here
don't,
on
I
mine.
don't, I don't, I don't do it. I go with, I'm not going to lie and cover all my words. I'm just not doing it. But I'm trying to do that on your show. But on my channel, I go for it, man. I'm not playing. You know,
Yeah.
I actually erased my thing to not use the word unalive. I'm not doing that anymore. You know what I mean? That's ridiculous. Serial
Yeah,
unalivers. Nobody even
I
watched that
know.
because of what it was
I
called.
think
What's a
I
serial
know.
unaliver?
It's funny. It's
Anyway.
funny how we're like all some of us are like been self-censoring for a while. It kind of sucks, but it is
I
what it
already
is.
got screwed, so it's like it don't matter. It's hard. It's hard to rust an already tarnished blade. Anyway, a tarnished and already rusted blade. Excuse me. Anyway,
So
back to
basically, but what you're talking about, like, because I've heard this a while back. Like people have been talking about this nanotechnology and stuff that's in these, and it's
well,
like a venom, right? Like venom.
well, you know, the thing
I
is, when we
mentioned that a
start dealing
long
with
time
it,
ago about those.
it's the different creatures and that are synthetic and normal and real
Yeah,
that can actually self-assemble. So you've got
like venom.
graphene oxide and you've got Hydra vulgaris. And here's what's the trip. When you look that up, okay, that creature, although it's microscopic, it uses the tentacles to grab its food and stuff.
Oh
It looks
God,
very much like those things I've seen on people astrally,
really? Parasites?
energetically, and also a lot like those things that kind of are on the Matrix that are after people.
Oh,
You know what I'm talking about?
probably
Yeah,
like parasitic,
everybody
kind of.
look up Hydra vulgaris. And I'm sure there's somebody in your chat that's probably
Oh my
a
gosh!
biochemist, and they know. I mean, but it's a
Wow.
trip that can be seen in certain serums. Let's call them serums.
Serums. Yes, the serum.
Yeah, you can find them in certain serums, but I mean, that's
Serum.
terrifying. I've seen people talking about
Yeah,
that, and they said that when they saw it, they cried because of how many people got that. So when we
it's
talk
really
about
sad.
things like what you and our kingdom talked about, and the other people you have that are in that have actually been, we've all got that stuff in our bodies due to the food and due to the chemtrails.
Yeah,
But it's a
yeah.
matter of who do they, entertainment only purposes, whatever you say, whoever
Right.
they entertaining people want to
Yeah,
turn on. They want to turn
yeah,
that stuff on. We've all got that nanotechnology in our body, which
yeah.
is biosensors, semiconductors that can only be detected by non-linear junction detection equipment. But I mean, it's a point now where I really hope that goes to the courts and it gets fought a lot. And people like, maybe people like our king get paid, because what they're doing
Yeah,
is destroying people to terraform somewhere else.
man.
Not very fair.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
Adam
I
Ross
feel
says
like
yes.
I've gotten away from the
No,
plane and the android.
no, it's actually no, but it's kind of connected too, though, a little bit. 'Cause we're talking about robots. We're talking about, I mean, even the venom. I think it turned out that Tater Invader was probably fake. You were saying it was fake the whole time, and those guys were hoaxing that. I think they ended up saying that was a hoax. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
I mean, well, yeah, I wondered. They just
They just
disappeared after that
they just
last one was
disappeared.
swimming around and stuff. It disappeared. Yeah, I mean that. Sorry, the bee has to says it. I smell the BS. I can smell
They,
it like the rock. The
but
rock
you
can
know
smell.
what?
I smell BS.
I think they put a rubber suit on a fish. I think that's what they did. Remember when that thing was floating?
So you can see it in the front when it's moving around.
They
It looked
put
like they
a
put it upside down, and the fish was trying to get
what
out
the
by
heck?
swimming the wrong way. It's called
Those
torture.
meanies.
Torture of a creature. That's what it
Yeah,
was.
but that made him a lot of money, though.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I'm sure.
You know,
TikTok. I don't know. Maybe not.
I noticed something that when I did my live that you took an interest in.
Mm-hmm.
You took an interest in asteroid psyche or psych. Asteroid psyche.
Oh, psych. Yeah, psyche or psych. P. Yeah, yeah. Well, because it's I study astrology and astronomy and all that. So yes, it's actually part of both.
You they're sending something there, and it's not the one. I have a video I might release sometime. It's about the Barry satellite.
That's they have a Barry satellite?
Yeah, that's one of those ones that goes out there and mines asteroids. But I firmly believe that each one they do, that they send one of those satellites to mine. I believe that they're craft. I believe that they're actually ancient craft that are artifacts now, more or less relics. But I believe that that's what they're going. That's why they're going there and getting that. And I based that on the stuff that Richard Hoagland had talked about under the electron microscope that was seen on the pieces from asteroid Bennu, and also from the moon. having what appeared to be almost nano gears in them, almost down to the pico level. What is that? See what I mean? So that shows you that's something that's just, yeah. It's very, very interesting. Fossilized craft, ancient craft, and that goes into kind of with what I think when you're a firm believer in Apollo, what is Apollo 18, Apollo 20, the Black Mona Lisa?
That was Apollo 20, I think, wasn't it?
Apollo 20 is what it was. Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah. But that would be a derelict ancient craft, technically, if it's real. Mm-hmm. So I think that it's things like that they found that's right near us. And I've mentioned before VG 1991. Why haven't they sent anything there to grab pieces off that? Or SKG 3444. Why have they not? Or is it SG 3444? People are looking up another near Earth object that's very peculiar. Something that I found about the dreaded 3-eye atlas.
3-eye atlas.
They're saying that it's almost mostly nickel. And they were comparing it to, in some ways they're saying that nickel is not natural to this planet, that it was the result of like Moldavite, the result of a meteor impact. And that the meteor was mostly nickel. That's one of the things I've heard. So, I don't know. I find that part interesting, It
is.
Maybe we're at a point, I think, when this ship comes back, the quote unquote V'ger or whatever was sent out a couple of thousand years ago, enters our solar system. I think it's going to be undeniable. There won't be any question like we were questioning this or the other objects. We're going to know. It's going to be whether it emits Bracewell probes, but I think we're dealing with a conscious event there. Something that's going to be tuned into a ton of us when it moves in, not just remote viewers. Everybody's been picking up this thing because it's coming back to educate, to change, And I have a past memory on this life of this planet of that something like that being released here and being sent out. But I think it was done around the galactic collective, actually, in a galaxy way. Those that are dealing with beings from other galaxies, something we don't hear about in these circles very enough. Not just other universes and dimensions, but the beings from other galaxies. What are the beings from the Virgo galaxy like? From the Sombrero galaxy? It looks really cool like that. What about the ones from Cassiopeia? What about the ones that are on the rogue planets that they're proving rogue exoplanets that somehow go into habitable zones? What? Around stars?
Oh, like the ones that I've remote viewed that have humans living on them and humanoids and mid-rise apartments. And
those are just in the habitable zone of TRAPPIST-1. And if we really want to put it on the table, the ones that your horrible friend B-Dub here has forced you to remote view, you've looked at a bunch. You've looked at more exoplanets than I think most remote viewers. Honestly, you looked at TRAPPIST-1. You looked at both of those. You looked at both. There's 2 habitable ones there. You did Tau Ceti E, Tau Ceti F. You did the brown dwarf planets in our solar system in the trans-Neptunian objects.
I did Ceres.
Sedna, and what was the other one?
Sedna.
Make, yeah. And then you did Ceres. Yeah.
It's the lights on Ceres, yeah.
Nobody knows that for me, because you lost the day. No, that's all right. I love you, Jessica. But
no, it's here somewhere.
You did for me. You did SMAX 04723 or SMAX 0473. But what anybody doesn't know that's was found with really one of the first images from the it was Hubble Deep Space got it, and I think James Webb got it too. But it's one of the galaxies that's so far out, but it looks like the redshift is like you see the galaxy, and there's another that is redshifted that's like this yellow over it. It's almost like a whale over this other galaxy. And you remote viewed in there. And that was fascinating what you got there. I know what he's going to get, but we start dealing with something that far out, that far away. I had to personally deal with when these experiences, some of these beings I dealt with, they were thought forms. And you go that far out when you get close to, what we call, quote unquote, the Big Bang, or wherever creator decided through loneliness, we're going to create something, and that creates this as cosmos. You start getting that far out, and the beings that are still existing there, they exist as thought forms only. extreme thought forms with maybe no container around for their consciousness. And then when they start coming to other galaxies or coming closer, they start doing the aggression of bodies. Okay. And then by the time they get somewhere like here, they have bodies. And it's not a natural way that we know it of being birthed. But these beings are described very much. And then they come here and they get trapped in the magnetic fields of the planet, trying to have sex, trying to get down. Right there.
Brown chicken, brown cow.
You're talking about entertainment purposes only. That's
entertainment purposes only.
And why it's partially hellish here. You know what I mean? It's because you've got a ton of
aliens are coming here to get it on.
Well, you got a ton of entities who want to just incarnate here like you and I did to get laid and eat some grub. Grub down, man. Yeah, I mean, it's true. And, it's so simple. You got these people walking around, they're soulless people. They're just NPCs. They might be, but they still be eating. They be grubbing. They still having sex. There's something. They got something. I'm being serious. We're third dimensional enough here to where that's very enticing for those that are non-physical. You know what I mean? To where there's a whole lot want to get in here and be physical. Even to a point to where we've got other physical humanoid type beings curious about us and curious about our capacity for love and our capacity to generate creator energy. I've come up in my work, I come across it a few times. You know what I mean? So it's not even always as much as, hey, we're going to assault you and abduct you as we're going to keep y'all suppressed because you're really bad MFs and y'all can't know it, really. So we're going to say, oh, y'all just keep you enslaved down there. It's kind of what it is. I think humanity is a great deal more than anybody wants to give us credit. Seriously. And if we were, and once I think we were very important when it comes to quote unquote galactic councils. One last thing I'm going to say, and I'm going to shut up and say no more this episode. Look, I watch old stuff sometimes because I can't sleep. Last night I couldn't sleep, so I decided to watch a couple of 1978 episodes of something I loved as a kid. It's a show called The Tomorrow People, and it came out of Britain. All right.
Okay.
What the Tomorrow People were they were these extreme telepaths, psychics, all that, mediums, but they were supposed to be Homo superior, the next evolution of people. And to the point to where they could actually teleport. They had to have these little belts so they wouldn't just go flying through e-space, but get lost. But they had these belts and everything, and they were supposed to be the next evolution. And there was about 5 or 6 of them. And as the seasons, it ran maybe 6 years or so. So you got other Tomorrow People. There's normally 5 other actors. But the one I was watching, the artificial intelligent computer that was built by the first Tomorrow People is talking about, well, we're ready for Timus to come. He's the ambassador of the Galactic Federation.
Your favorite.
This artificial intelligent thing keeps going on about the Galactic Federation. We're humanity, the Tomorrow People are going to be the first to become part of the Galactic Federation. And he just kept saying it again and again. I would just sit up here, man, this is 78. Maybe 77.
That's a good year.
Are you kidding me? I mean, it's just kind of a trip. And I watch all the arguments online. The Galactic Federation are the devils. You should know that. And all these people, everybody is expert on everything, and nobody really knows. You know what I mean? But it's because I hear that they're supposed to be the devils now and they can't be trusted. But the information you got concerning them was not that, was it? So I don't know where it begins and ends because I'm not the one dealing with them. I deal with a weirder alliance named. But I think we got to put this together and really try to save this place. Not all beings are trying to destroy this place. There are some that are positive, but it's like they kind of stay halfway, not engaged the way people want, as to where the evil ones do because this place is screwed up.
Yeah, it is.
Evil and trauma walks around here like a more member of the population.
I wonder if they're ETs that fly past our planet and they lock their doors. They're like, don't look, kids.
When I mentioned to you, I did that Earthbound Spirit transition.
Yeah.
And I've done so many of those now, Jessica. I'm so blessed. But recently I did 2 extraterrestrials. They're attached to people.
Yeah,
you understand. It was a trick. So this one is okay.
Is that normal to have extraterrestrials attached to people etherically?
Not in this way. because they scan like I do different. Like I do Earthbound Spirit Release Rescue. It's
Okay.
not demonic. That's a different level. If I run into those, I'll just get rid of them. I'm not trying to be Max von Sydow and kill over beside somebody's bed. You know what I mean? But yeah. So anyway, this they're different levels, but this one was on the Earthbound level in terms of it was trapped here. And when it started saying, and I asked questions. One is, how would you begin to cross something from another planet? So after I find out how it actually died, it had said that their ship was ambushed by reptilians. And that sounds kind of corny in a way until what it was saying, though. It kept telling me, we're mantis. A type of praying mantis is the closest creature on your planet that looks like us, but it's not the same. And it distinctively said it did not look like anything that my client had seen, any of the pictures of mantid beings. They look like nothing like that. And then it tells me immediately that how benevolent they are. And they're peaceful, and they came here on a peaceful mission. But then it keeps throwing in, but we're armed to the teeth. We're not to be trampled with our technology. Yeah, we're like they're just complete badasses, okay? But they're really benevolent. And then this mantid didn't cross over because it said that they were here on a contact mission to help us become part of Galactic, but they were doing it telepathically. And this being is describing, it's a little weird because unlike Earthbound's, this one is sending me pictures I'm picking up. And it figures this would happen to me because I've interacted with non-humans. But it's showing me these beings, and they do look strange, but they're all like in a stasis, like sitting in like around a circle, not quite on med beds, but something similar to that, to where they're all communicating with contactees telepathically, probably where people were asleep, I'd imagine. But it's not malevolent.
Wow.
And why they're in this type of a stasis, maybe their shields were down or something, and these reptilian, it said, had some type of a different sound technology, what would it say, some type of a technology they had that damaged their craft. They crashed, and then it was traumatized because it said it survived. One other crew member survived but died, and the others died on impact. And then humans came and found it and killed it before he could even get moved from the crash, moving it very hostilely and doing things that killed it. But it was going to die anyway, it said. So anyway,
Wow.
But for that reason, it couldn't cross. It was mad at humans. Okay, it was mad about the reptilians. They wanted revenge, and for that reason, it didn't cross. So the next thing I have to ask is, well, what is the spirit? And what is? I don't ask religion, ask spirituality. What is the spirituality like on your planet? And it says.
Oh, you asked? Interesting.
What
I like how you think outside the box, Barry.
What else am I gonna do? It's not hostile. What else am I gonna do? So I'm not gonna go. It wasn't like it's exchange like that. But I got to try to figure out intelligently, cognitive behavioral, babe.
I got it.
Seriously, but it was and it said well, we're like you, that we believe in the source, in the creator, the one source, and attaining that. And we believe in, they said, love too. But then it said, but we're not like you. Your planet is all messed up. Your spirituality is all messed up, and it's unorganized. They kept saying that all of our spirituality is the same. Everything we do is uniform, and we're light years ahead of you all, but everything is uniform. There's not all the discrepancy like we see in your civilization. And it kind of mentioned that it was kind of found it disgusting. That we're not all, and it's weird, Jessica, because it made me think of insectoid colonies, not just ant colonies, but wasp colonies and all of them, beehives and things like that. All the colonies and how they're actually organized, and how would their society be organized if they were highly sentient and spiritual. On top of that, this thing was bragging about its spirituality. Wow. That's why I'm surprised it got trapped, kind of. You know what I mean? But I used that to cross it, what it told me, the source of the creator. It was really just a trip, though. It was a little bit elating. It was a different type of a crossing in terms of how I was able to communicate, because I can see the portals and I can see the dead that might already be there before the earthbound will announce who they are to me. You know what I mean? There's a darkness going on. And why is it when you start talking about love and the creator, they just start seeing the light? Is it because it's a trick? Or is it because it's part of our process? You know what I mean? And before that, they couldn't see, they're seeing their loved ones there. One last thing I'll say before I shut up, okay?
That's deep right there.
I had another client, this has been a few weeks ago, not many months ago, 2 months maybe. But anyway, really cool person, but they had like 12 attached to them, okay? And man, like, gotcha, almost all of them, Jessica, like 10 of them were family members that they had known during their life that have crossed and didn't go over, but joined with them.
12 is a lot.
I crossed the first 3. And then the 4th one, when I'm crossing it, it starts saying, well, there's such and such. The names of the other family members that they knew that I just crossed. And they're in this light with the others. And it's describing, they look like they have those things on them. I said, what things? You know, the energy, it almost looks like wings. How do they have that? And they're telling me to come on, it's going to be all right. And, you know, so is that a big trick, a big holographic trick? Or is it they went into that light, this trick, and got a change and got them some type of a body? It may be the stuff that's the same Morantia, quote unquote, you and Jock were talking about ether type of substance. You know what I mean? Yeah. But they have this body and they've already transitioned to that. So time is not the same over there. And by the time I got to the last people, all the people I just crossed were over there telling them to come on. It happened that quick. And I'm saying, look, I don't make the rules. I just try to document them, but I'd be like you, the data. But I feel brand new half the time. I was feeling brand new with. I was like, what the heck? That's how it works. Because with my frame as a being of beginning and endings, it's hard to focus on that. Kind of like it's kind of hard sometimes to imagine the creator, a being that is omnipotent and omnipresent, always was, and has no beginning and no ending. It's kind of hard being a being composed of being an ending and beginning and endings. Everything I see in this planet is beginning and endings, including yours truly, which sucks, but it is what it is. Anyway, sorry, man. It's fun to talk about, I think. You know, I can only talk about this stuff with you because we go down the rabbit hole, and I found that people don't dislike it as much as I thought they did. So. Well, you know what I mean? I used to feel bad because I see tickets off Target and stuff we're supposed to be talking about. They get all excited up here going like this, and, you know, I trip it out.
No, you know, I think that's the beauty of it is like we've covered the targets tonight. Okay, so we've covered the targets. Whatever that thing is, the ghost alien, it's not a cello case. Okay, it's not a cello case, and it takes us on. It's not a double bass something or another. It ain't no stringed instrument. Okay. And but it takes us on detours, like everything that, you know, the data alone takes us on different detours and different rabbit holes. And it just, that's what I love about this, like doing these shows, and especially doing them with you. And like you and I don't really even we don't get into deep conversation about these targets before we go live on air. And so we're just able to do this live for the audience and for ourselves and everybody. It's fun.
Yeah, it is. It's
and cool. So it doesn't matter where it goes. We don't have an agenda or anything every year. We just have the data, and then we have information. Okay. And so I love it. And then we have an awesome audience who's also very interactive.
It's growing. You know what I mean? I've been getting in contact with people, and some people say, I've been listening to you and Jessica for a couple years. I have never really said anything or commented, but I like this and that, and they might want a session or something, or, you know, it's really, really pretty cool. You know, you should be very proud of the work you're doing. You're sticking with it. You know what I mean? You're going on with it. You're not, and when I keep working with you because you've not been bit by that fame bug yet. I'm watching you though. I'm watching you, Joe.
You said yet. Not yet.
Well, I mean, it keeps it
there
fun.
will be signs.
You're doing it because it's fun. What's sorry?
Look, if you ever see me with a werewolf security team, you'll know things have changed. Okay. I'm just kidding.
That dog man security.
There will be signs. I'm kidding.
You know, I was thinking of that again the other night, man. I was out walking, and it was a really bright full moon like last night. I was like, man, I can't, when I see that, for some reason, I always can't help but think about the Dr. Pepper guy walking across the English moor, and then he turned into a werewolf, got jacked. You know what I mean? But that was one of the movies that really focused on almost as much as the Lon Chaney movies of the werewolf coming out at full moon. You know what I mean? And then and I'd always you read that wolves don't really howl at the full moon. When I was at that ranch in Washington, a full moon, 2 full moons out there, I heard the things out there howling. I don't think that's true. I'm not werewolves, but wolves. They were howling at the moon around 2 a.m. I definitely heard it. It was not my imagination. It was cool. And I'm from the Midwest. I've never heard anything like that. But anyway, it's it's cool. It's cool to just bring all this stuff together. But when I'm out when I'm at the moon like that, I think about the American Werewolf in London. And I'm sorry, to my personal opinion, I thought that was the most terrifying werewolf of all of them produced in any of the movies. I thought the ones that are standing up, they're cool. Dogman would probably be a trip, but that one on all fours, the way that thing looks so vicious in the face, it makes me wonder with the people that created it, with the people that have watched it, can we manifest something like that into reality? And is that why one of the dogmen looked like that? Was it type 3 look like that?
Well, that's the type 3 Bigfoot with the snout.
No,
like,
the dogman. The dogman, type 3 dogman, or it might be a type 2. And all the witnesses say it reminded them of American Werewolf in the London. Yeah, type 3, variant 2. Yeah. Man, I'm sorry. No, thank you. And when you look at the making of that was the deal where John Landis and them, they put that thing on actually wheelbarrows so it would make it look like it was walking.
Yeah.
And I've got a picture. I almost posted it on Facebook. I decided not to. It's a picture of him like maybe a year ago. He's standing with that actually mask. Even him standing with it on the pole, you're like, damn, that thing looks vicious, man. It ruined Dr. Pepper for me. I didn't drink that stuff for a long time. That guy was jumping around. He's a doctor. She's a doctor. Pepper, doctor. And the next thing I know, he's out there wolfing out, running naked with balloons in the well, you remember American man stole my balloons. You remember that scene? Anyway. Well, he like woke up. He woke up in the zoo with the wolves. Naked. And his friend
that would suck, wouldn't it? God,
his friend came back to the bed and said, man, you're a werewolf, man. He said, get out of here. You're dead. And he said, hey, man, what about the zoo, man? You don't think that was weird? Dude's dead. He's on a corpse. So what about the zoo?
I tell you what, I'd be like, what did I drink last night? Good Lord. Waking up all these wolves in the zoo? Where am I?
Another movie. You ever seen Altered States?
It sounds familiar. I don't think I have, though. I don't know.
It's one of William Hurt's earlier movies. And what it is about is actually they're experimenting with sensory deprivation tank. And he's like eating mushrooms or doing something, and he's getting in there, and he starts reverting back to like some type of Neanderthal. Yeah, it's real interesting. He's running around in the zoo eating some stuff, and he woke up in the zoo, formed back. And eventually getting in the thing was supposed to be getting in the tank with the mushrooms was causing him to actually revert back to basic human.
Oh my God. That's what Hillbilly Herb just said. He said, be careful doing that. You might devolve. Devolve?
Yeah, devolve. Yeah,
wow.
that's what he did. He devolved. He's looking down. He's got the Planet of the Apes, man. Yeah. Good movie, though. Good movie in terms of it took us just in that type of a deal. And it's the first time I had seen them use so much of the paint for the special effects and stuff when he's supposed to be going to. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Sometimes the oldies are goodies. You know what I mean? Now they got the special effects, but the acting is not very good. And the plots are not that good. But they just blow something up, throw in some special effects when you get bored. You're good. Anyway, it's a great movie. Yeah.
Oh, Hillbilly Herb had a question earlier.
Sure.
I forgot to ask you. I didn't forget. I just didn't get a chance. He was wanting to know, can you sense when people have attachments on them? Can you tell by just meeting somebody if they have attachments and how many attachments do they have?
I can't tell you how many, but I can detect if they have them on them. I can detect earthbound spirits on them, and that's odd because, to be honest, until I started working with a whole bunch of them, I couldn't always. I could usually detect the ones on the outside of the person's energy field that are kind of attached, but they're on the outside more or less. And those are ones I can telepathically ask something like, hey, I need survival evidence. And they'll give me something, visions and information or whatever. That's something if I wanted to tell this person the message, I don't look like a psycho. You know what I'm saying? But in that way, but that's different than the earthbound spirits I cross normally, because those are inside the energy field. The others can even be ghosts or just ones that have come back and help. They're outside the energy field, but the ones inside the energy field are attached to a point of trauma. And if you look up what parts of the body store trauma, it's kind of where they'll jump you according to like what they died of. Let's say the person died of a kidney problem or something. And let's say the kidney, actually the organ that stores pain for kidney is in your shoulder. You know what I mean? Your shoulder muscle. So the dead person will attach to that. That's what they died of, and they'll get that on you, and then they'll attach. Then they blend and entwine with your energy field so much that they only express themselves as negative behavior patterns, which are normally the ones that they had in life and kept them here, and it destroys lives. So I can detect the ones on the outside, but the one on the inside, I can detect they might have some, and I can especially tell if they have my list, certain things, lack of energy, voices, or argument with spouse that they weren't having before, and feeling like something's taking over. And that oftentimes people think it must be demonic, but a lot of times it's earthbound. A lot of times.
Earthbounds with attachments. I mean, they are attached, I guess, but man. Nathan wants to know, can it be overwhelming in large spaces at times?
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I've mentioned this before, but I had done a deal that I knew somebody that had died that was a part of somebody in my family, actually, that was married to somebody in my family. And I knew that they hadn't crossed over. Okay. And I decided to do something different, which was I went to another person and I went ahead and took them under, and they have mediumship abilities, and had them to help with this. I was going to go in and get the person I know from the other side, then bring them there. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I tried to do that. And when I get done with that, the room filled up with, this is an apartment complex down on the river, but we're in my city. And it's very active down there. All the houses, everywhere down there, because a bunch of Native American bloodland down there. The apartment filled up with people with earthbounds wanting to know what's going on. Some of them wanting to be crossed. And not being funny, it reminded me of the movie with Ghost.
With Whoopi?
Whoopi's in there, yeah. What'd you do to me, man? All these people are in there, and it was jumping her and stuff. You know what I mean? You remember that? Yeah. After they realized she could see for real, her whole thing had filled up with dead people. But that room was like that. And you see, I was still being Mr. Good Guy. I crossed like 3 of them, and there's so many of them. I said, whoa, no more, because my friend was standing behind them and letting them rush me. You see what I'm saying? And then once I got rid of them, I was able, the other person, the medium, I said, who's still in here? And I was able to identify my friend then and cross them. And it was a trip because they stood back there and hid. And when the medium starts describing this person, they described them identical to how they were. And they gave me a name, like a fake name at first. I was like, man, that's not, the way they described it. And finally said, Barry, yeah, it's me. You caught me, all right? And if I just hadn't done this and that, I wouldn't have died like that. I was too young. You know that. I just screwed up. I was like, I understand. Got him to cross. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So sorry, that's a long, but winded answer to that. I hope that was, I could have put that like 3 or 4 words, but yeah, it definitely happens. That's what happened to me like that. I wasn't aware like how many can home in on you. But since then, for example, I had these beings that were in the room. They weren't attached to the client. Okay. It wasn't like that. But there are these beings in the room that said they kept saying the 5th density, but then they're describing it, what this book would call the mansion worlds. When Yehoshua said there are many mansions in my father's house, he's talking about the mansion worlds, which are also the Bardo worlds at the Tibetan Book of the Dead, the Bardo, the different levels of death after astral levels after death. But they said they're from the 5th density, Jessica. And there was 4 of them, okay? And they said they were watching. They're on like a mission, a scout mission. And I said, what's the mission? They said, well, we're observing love. because we want to know why love goes through all the universes and through time. It goes through everything. We want to know why. And we've been watching you. Why? That was tripping me out. You know why? You say, well, we've heard you, we know you use love, but we've also heard you just speak of the soul before. And you've done souls when you've been crossing over. You talk about the soul. And we haven't been thinking that really what you call the soul is the astral energy body, our spirit body. And it's the same thing. And then it starts saying it's one specifically talking to us where we're at on the fifth mention, we're good. We are good. So we don't know why there would be a difference between the spirit body and the soul. But there's love. Love permeates everything, so it means there is something else. It's because of love we think that maybe there is a soul. And we're trying to find out. That's the study we're doing. And Jessica kind of tripped me out because I was just like, whoa, okay. And when I see that, and we've talked about this before, so I'm gonna sound like this broken record, brother. But in the Tibetan Book of the Dead, they talk about a certain bardo level that's higher, that when spirits get there, or Marantia world, if you want to call it that it's like you lose the volition to go straight further to the creator, because you get at that point. And sometimes it can happen by you get blessed out by the own love you put out to others when you were a human. That comes back a millionfold when you get on one of these other bardo levels. You're out there, whoa. And the one that I mentioned before, it described it as being like a beach, a beautiful beach with these gods on this beach having everything brought, the most beautiful scenery, everything brought to them they could ever need. So where's the volition to ever leave the beach? And geeking out again. I know I'm repeating myself now. I always conform that to Star Trek Voyager when one of the Q wanted to kill itself. Not the one we're familiar with from the other one, the John Delancey, but there's another Q. And they kept saying, he's insane. He said, no, I want to kill myself because there's nothing else. They took him to the continuum for this trial, and it's a gas station out there with like 6 or 7 people there, a dog, and like playing a pinball, some other stuff, and a road going to the desert. And Janeway asks, "What's with the road?" And the Q says, "Oh, that's the cosmos. It goes backwards, it goes forward. We've all been through that." And said, and you notice something here at the gas station? Do you notice something? They're like, "What?" Nobody's saying anything. It's total silence. And he looks at him. He said, "Because there's nothing left to say. We've all been everything. We've incarnated everything on the road, forward and backward, the gas station. There's nothing left." And when you start dealing with omnipotent and omnipresent, really? Okay? When is there, and God in the beginning, the creator, he created the cosmos. It created the cosmos because of boredom. If you're the alpha and the omega for real, that really is a concept.
Boredom. I don't know how anything could ever get bored.
Well, it'd be loneliness. Loneliness would be huge. And you and I, as being immortal souls and being that part of the creator, that super conscious I tap in when we do sessions, knows everything, knows the end of every quantum possibility, every outcome, all that stuff, quantum entanglement, you name it, it knows it all. So what's left? Do we have to wipe a part of ourself clean so that we can remember and go experiencing ourself and creation again? To avoid boredom, to avoid that? Is that what I'm serious. As immortal souls, what are our adversaries? Our biggest adversaries. Boredom is going to be one.
I never get bored. I'm just saying.
Of course not. We got like 90 years here if we're real lucky.
I know, right? I know. It's shocking to me. I remember back. Okay, I know this is like so petty, right? But I remember back when I first had my son, and he was like a toddler, and I was at home with him mostly, and I would meet other moms sometimes. I would be like, "Oh, cool! I found another mom that has a kid. And we can maybe let our kids play." And like these women would like call me sometimes and be like, "I'm just bored." And stuff. And I was always like so perplexed. Like, how do you get bored when you have a toddler and stuff? I don't know. I've just never been one to ever be bored. My hands are always full of something. And I'm just always creating stuff and thinking. I think too hard to be bored, Barry. Even if I'm home, my brain is always working, just like you. I know you're the same way. I know it.
Oh, yeah, it's crazy. Sometimes,
Yeah.
there's one of the techniques. It's called stopping your internal dialogue, not talking to yourself. You know
Maybe
how hard
those
that
people
was
don't
for
talk
me?
to themselves.
Oh,
Maybe that's what it is.
I had to learn pranayama. I had to start getting into that to get the breaths, just to slow down my mind enough so I could really meditate and realize that's when we kind of start becoming multidimensional. By the way, that last statement, I agree with that. And it's proven by science alone. Look at the laws of thermodynamics. First, the universe is not a closed system. It's still expanding. And when you look at thermodynamics, you have that entropy. And I think part of the expansion is also that entropy going into Makos and making other universes out there as well. Okay. And I've encountered that to some degree, these other universes. I don't understand how they're all created and how they all function, but there's a bunch of them. And they're not like the bubble theory like we've been told. Some of them look organic, some of them look fluid, some of them look like broken pieces of shard glass. It's something different. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Wow. Rhonda, I agree. I do have the best guest ever on my shows, best co-host and everything. Thank you, Rhonda, for that super sticker and for your support. I appreciate you so much. Yeah,
That's
Barry.
cool.
Barry is top notch, man. Top notch, Barry.
Just a stressed out brother who talks too much. And if it's the Apollo, they'd be throwing was it carrots and apples at me, or was it tomatoes? Get tomato
Oh my
over brother.
No, you have a lot to say, and you know what? You've got a lot of good information inside of you, and you need to get it out. And I'm glad that we can have a platform here to get it all out, and to talk about it, because what you know and the things you've researched and the things you inherently know are very important.
Well,
especially for this day and age. I'm just saying. Yeah.
It's maybe just a little small piece of the puzzle. I don't know that much. So this is the internet. I look probably smarter than I am. Like people meet me in person, they'd be like, "Man, that brother sucks. Man, you know nothing. What do you think about this, Barry?" I'm at there going, "Doi. I don't know."
I've met you in person too. You're just as cool and smart in person. Okay.
You met me in one of those things, those biting things. Yeah.
Oh man.
There are a lot of them around, but yeah, it was one of the things I was going to tell you. And I think it was Sasquatch related, but it's eluding me right now. I'm sorry, but yeah, that whole thing is getting really, really intense. As far as just, I noticed the kind of the fact that some of them might have been murdered or unalived at some point. Mm-hmm. That's getting pretty intense, and I wondered, I mean, when listening to David Pauletti's, he claims, he says that none of them have ever been killed by people and never will. I don't really believe that. That's what he said. He said that a couple of times. He said they've never been killed by people and they're never going to be killed by people. And he was, saying kind of.
He said that people have never unalived them.
Yeah,
humans have not done that. I disagree with that, actually, because I think I know at least one or two people personally who claim to have done that.
And you remote viewed bugs, right?
Bugs, that's right, out of Texas. Yeah.
I was listening to that that night when that came on Art Bell Live, but he had interviewed them both times. I thought it was horrible. I didn't like it.
It's sad. It's very sad. Well, they were trappers or something. Him and his buddies were out getting fur, and they ended up shooting that male one. They said they thought it was a bear, I think, but they shot it, and then they were following the blood trail, and then the female, his partner, was trying to protect him, and she came after them, charged at him, and then they shot her too. And then he buried him. And I remote viewed that. That was a remote viewing target. So it's on my list on my Patreon if you guys want to see it. And I did a show on it as well. So there's a show somewhere on my playlist. That was a long time ago.
See, I thought that one was real, and I heard
it was real, I think.
Like a retired military guy giving one of those stories, and he said that he was part of that reconnaissance that would go in and bust up the entertainment only people, marijuana fields in California, and how seriously, how intense and detailed the traps were. So local police and people like that can go out there. They had to really have specialists to go out there due to the traps that the growers would put out there, And He'd said that they were coming down in this helicopter, and part of the squad has this circle. They're going to bring this field down, but they've got these things out there in the middle. And he said when you get closer, when they land, you can see that there are these like 4 Sasquatch out there, and one of them is a huge male. He's saying like it's like a 12-footer, okay, just huge, muscular, all that new year. And there's a woman there, but she's laying down, and there's like 2 kids moving around.
Oh gosh.
And the dude said, at first I thought maybe she must be giving birth. So this male is, kind of protecting her for that reason, why she's giving birth. But then upon landing and set up around, about to ambush these things, it says that she's laying down. They see when she's laying down, her leg is gone from the knee down. Or up. She got caught in one of those traps. So the kids are tripped out, and the male had no choice but to stay there and defend her. And when they got closer, come in, he had said that they had like whatever serious firepower. Said that he built down like a football player. And I've heard that before about him, but not just going off forward. He lunged forward so fast from back there that they started popping him, and they were hitting him in the head. It wouldn't drop him. And finally, like they unloaded, and one of them had something, the specialist he called, had some sort of special gun and popped him in the head and took him out finally. He said that thing took so much firepower. He said it was almost supernatural. You know what I mean? And he said, I know he only did it because he was forced to defend the female. And then he described how they took them all, and he was sure they were, killed or whatever. It was another one of those horrible, horrible stories. You know what I mean?
And then we have the controversial Patty one as well, but I know that's
that's the Thor one. I see people getting over there on that. I saw some people butchering poor MK Davis the other day. He was
I know.
Tearing him up, man. Hey, man, I was like, golly, man.
People are that is a very polarizing topic right there. You and I did that show where I had done the remote viewing on it. And and it backs up exactly what
people got mad at you,
says.
didn't they?
Yeah. So people came at me too, and it's all good. I stand firm behind my data.
Yeah.
So
and I mean, it is unfortunate. It really is. It's unfortunate, and I'm hoping that's one of the things that's changing consciousness that's going on. It'll be a point that maybe some people are doing trades with Sasquatch beyond just Bigfoot, Snow White Bigfoot. Finally saw what you looked at. Oh, I sent you that deal. Yeah, finally got to look at that woman. She did an interview. But I thought the stuff she's doing with Sasquatch is really cool, but you don't hear a lot about it, and some of those type of interactions, and just at where it begins and ends. I would hope that one day we can get down to who are the ones, like the positive ones, the Patty ones, and who are the ones that are like the Gugwees, that are these I guess we call them chimera, but we could also call them abominations. I think that's what they are.
Abominations.
And, and
I hate that, but
I'm still wondering what's up with the eye glow, not eye shine, but the eye glow. They're different, right?
Yes. Well, there's eye reflection and eye shine. There's eye glow.
Eye glow is emanating,
self-illuminating, basically. Yeah.
Do you think all those are cyborgs? Do you think that's actual natural characteristics for some of the ones that are natural?
I've always thought it was natural, but as we're talking more and more about cyborgs and robots and AI and stuff, I wonder now. I don't know. I can tell you from experience, from being out in the field a lot and having a lot of Bigfoot, when we're out there when we're interacting with Bigfoots, we're getting a lot of ET interference, if you want to call it that. And I say interference because they're always there in some form or fashion. All roads lead back to ET. That's what the head of my team's always said. Mm-hmm. And we have experienced that. And so, yeah, could there be some kind of AI element to them? Yeah, it could be ET stuff. I just don't know, Barry. I have no idea.
I've always I wonder about that. What is that? That fraternal DNA so much, actually.
Yeah.
Sorry,
The
father DNA.
other.
Yeah. I wonder. I mean, and there's so many things like their ability to swim and stuff, and I keep coming across those accounts of them being in water. I mean, they sound like they're as good as water as like Aquaman, like they was from Poseidon. You know, I mean, seriously, and the
God.
stuff I hear about in the water, I'll tell you, and it seems that whatever being it is, extraterrestrial style, might have something to do with water that they're combined with. And it's a shame because they say like, and I don't know, when I listen to some of the Native American tribes say that they were the first people on Earth, I wonder, because their bodies sure are much more conditioned for this environment than ours. That's for sure.
Yeah. Their feet, they got big feet that are rough. My
Oh,
skin is so delicate. I'm like a dainty little rosebud. I tell you what, compared to them.
You better stop. You can
I
start
don't
getting
like walking barefoot
stalkers in the
anymore.
chat. You better stop. Look at all those
I'm
hearts.
so dainty. I'm just a delicate bud. I know, right? Oh my gosh. I want to take a commercial break real quick and thank Firewater by Design. There's Firewater now. Thank you so much, Fire. Chicken fingers, tater logs, and Vienna sausages. Yes, I said it. Vienna sausages for the house. No spandex. Thank you. You covered all the bases tonight. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for your support. You're so silly. We will never live down the spandex.
I got a little bit of crap for some people because I had said that that time commission cats that I had interacted with, they had on these blue suits, and it was so tight. It felt like it gave me a low sperm count.
Oh my gosh.
Seriously,
all I can
man.
think of are wedgies. Yeah.
Look at stuff Spider-Man wears and Superman. Those are terrible outfits. And it goes over the next generation. That first 2 seasons, those uniforms were so tight. I was like, there's no way they're crawling around in Jeffrey tubes and doing all that. No way. Yeah, the superhero uniforms suck.
Yeah, no. Well, my son he grows fast. He's a big kid. Okay. When he was little, he was growing quickly. And we would buy him the big thing were those spandex costumes. And so he loved, we had Spider-Man, we had Deadpool. He liked Deadpool when he was really little. Okay. He didn't really know Deadpool, but he liked the costume. And so we had them, and they would get so tight, and those strings would it was just bad. So I was having to constantly buy new ones because they would rip. As soon as he got too big for it, it never failed. They would always rip every time he'd do a cartwheel or something. So anyways, yes, the best damn podcast says, what if Bigfoot is actually a species of alien? And yes, we've discussed that before, but they could be. It could be an alien.
I can say what came up in one of my regressions. I've said it before. I'm going to repeat myself. But it was a regression where it was called a life between lives. And there's always a guide that will come and take the client through their life. Okay, normally it could be a book, it could be a pond or whatever at this place of translation and reconfiguration. Well, this was this guide was a huge Sasquatch that they described as being like 12 plus tall, but having on this uniform. There was like a uniform that made the Federation of Star Trek look corny. It's just a serious uniform.
Was it spandex?
No, it sounded more like not militant, but like almost like Starfleet type of stuff. The way they're describing like a sash and maybe Klingon stuff. I don't know, but this being had said that it was okay. Our form is called the Adam Kadmon. Okay. Adam Kadmon. That's supposed to be the blueprint for humanity. And this being was saying that its species was like the Adam Kadmon for Sasquatch. And that the ones here were basically bred down from them. That DNA is coming from them. And these were like these were some type of really high galactic. And I'm telling you about this place of translation and reconfiguration. It was some type of a spaceship, starship, that's looking at universes. I mentioned this before on here, so I don't want to talk too much. But it's one of, and I know it's real because one of them was described by the client as looking like shards of glass. Seen that myself. Okay, so that's a whole other thing. I started asking about what the other universes they've been to were like and stuff like that. So it's a whole different type of reconfiguration and a whole different type of Sasquatch. And I'm getting stuff like too, like pay attention to the ones in Peru. You've got tons of those ships in Peru, and those contactees say they see these little, not quite Ewok, but similar that size, but they're Sasquatch running around on those things, and that they're highly advanced. And I've had some clients that come out with that too, seeing those on craft. So we do have, a deal there, but we got to remember whatever happened when this was a Type 1 civilization way back when, where we still have monuments from, whether you want to say it's the Egyptian area, the Tartarian Empire, whatever it is, it's, something went down here when this is a Type 1 civilization, and Sasquatch would have been part of the galactic trade. That's why we can't laugh at the stuff about them being controlled or being fighting reptilians, hearing that. You know what I mean? And for instance, Velociraptor type and all that stuff. I think it's no joke, but we're living in such a convoluted world, perception-wise.
Yeah, we are. We are. Steve Wolf, thank you so much. Please check your bill. Thank you for your support, Steve. I do appreciate you. That's very sweet. And yeah, by the way, Cryptidville has, I saw your comment, Cryptidville. Mark is in the chat. And he and I did, we've done a bunch of shows together, but he did cover the eye shine and the eye glow extensively in one of our episodes that we did on the hunt episode. So if you go to that playlist, I don't remember which episode it was, Mark. Okay. But we got into pretty deep conversation about the eye shine and the eye glow. And that's, yeah, it's an ongoing debate actually with all the researchers. Yeah, it is. And, some people see it as even like spiritual thing. We had that whole conversation about our aliens and demons. You know what I mean? And some people think that maybe some of the Bigfoots are demonic, or any kind of thing that has red eyes could be demonic.
Well, if you watch Scott Carpenter, and I got a great deal of respect for the work he did, and his son's doing good carrying on T-Carp, but constantly they're always referring to that they're Nephilium, and they feel that they're basically negative. I know T-Carp says that. He said he didn't want no interaction. He's out there walking in the woods, but he said he hope he don't see one. Hey, at least he's honest, But it's very interesting, and I think also something that I notice is coming up much more too. I'm sure you and I would go back to this. Is the mer people, the mermaid thing. The sightings are going up. People talking about it is increasing.
Yeah, that's because the elites are eating them. Just kidding.
It
could be actually.
I don't know. You never know. I mean, I would hope that if really you're looking at a species that probably is so much further advanced than we think, it's not just they're not just swimming around. I mean, come on. We all kind of think. I always think, well, they must all look like the chick on the tuna fish, like Daryl Hannah, right? Don't get the legs wet. Don't get the legs wet, and they walk around on land, right? For like 5 days or whatever she could stay for. But like I mentioned before, but you assume that the movie started off with him encountering her in the water a lot, like she's just out there swimming, and these mermaids are single. Or whatever, but in the end of that movie, she took him down to a city. She took him down to a city that was in a bubble. Remember, the very end of that movie.
And now we're talking about these biodomes that all these military, they have bases down there. They have elites living down there and whatever. By elites, I mean the rich folks, super rich people, I guess.
I don't know. You just hit it right here.
Biospheres and biodomes.
These on this craft. That's what I was saying the other day. These. Everybody says, oh, those are those anti-gravity things. No, I do not believe they are. I believe these are biodomes, pods that actually detach. I was in one of these, and it was what I thought it was it's the bottom of the ship, but I'm pretty sure it's one of these things. And I could see through in it, a different deal. But I think that's the biodome on board these craft. We start dealing with these living craft, these biology, they're bio creatures. Whole other thing going on, And again, I will say something about that craft, is that I think all of them I've been on board. I underestimated the level of sentience that they were, and also the fact that they probably are space organisms that might, for all we know, 1 million years old. We don't know. And that they remember us from incarnation to incarnation. The same way I have a client that, hey, they go to tour Gettysburg is 6 years old, and one of the Earthbound's trapped there. Says, "Oh, those are my regiment. So let me jump them and make sure they remember the war for their whole life.
Ugh.
In fact, let me make sure that they go back to Gettysburg to visit every year.
Oh,
I'm going to give them that instinct to do that. And even more than that, I'm going to make sure they don't forget. So I'm going to give them an obsession with all battlefields everywhere."
God. Oh,
isn't
Barry,
that
that explains a lot, actually, because, there's like up at Chickamauga, that's a place where people go and unalive themselves, self-delete, if you know what I mean. And it's like, well, maybe those people, I'm not saying all of them did, but maybe some of them have gotten attachments of some of the, people that live up there, got attachments with some of the soldiers. I mean, what was it, 34,000 men died over 3 days?
And you remember what I told you the Earthbound told me?
Imagine all those Earthbounds walking around up there.
Well, when I asked them, why didn't you cross over? Well, I got my regiment killed, and also everybody's still fighting on the war. Half of my regiment crossed over. They saw the light. But the others, they're still fighting there.
Golly,
and it's like,
that's wild.
That's what it said. It's like they're caught in some sort of a loop. That's what the Earthbound said. And that's what I call time loop, or science. It could also be called chronic hysteresis also. But that's a time loop.
Yeah.
And that's but it was really sad to hear that, And that's no different. Now I talk about those Earthbound releases. I've done a bunch of them, but the most powerful one I did, the one's the hardest for me. It took me a couple of days to recover, and it was one that the dude, he told me, brother, he said he got skewered. He got killed. His name was Alan. And he said he would never cross over until he destroyed the Caucasian race.
Oh my gosh.
Well, and and he got mad at me at first. He said, don't talk to me about God or the Creator, because I went to church all the time. I was a deacon. I did everything my parents said. And if God was real, it would never have let me get killed like that, murdered like that. And then I started saying, and it's horrible when you had, first he described being tarred and feathered, then getting poked through a skewer, through the genitals, through the body.
Oh man, we're services only here.
Well,
that's bad. We don't need to talk about that.
Seriously. And this is stuff people don't want to talk about because it happened. There was a book.
Okay.
And it was called Without Sanctuary. And I swear to you, it should have been on the entertainment purposes. It should have been on the shelf of every history classroom in America.
Oh, man.
But it wasn't, because you got people on there that are passing around of teenagers and celebrating it, okay? Parts of teenagers and celebrating it. Oh, yeah. And people don't want that seen because there's a ton of those pictures, and whether some of your grandparents on there, so you want nobody to know. This is our history. It's our history. Big deal.
It's horrible. It is, but this is not where I wanted the show to go tonight. That's all. I'm sorry. It's very, it's really bad. Yeah. Okay. It's really sad. And, yeah.
Well, I'm telling
people. We're
supposed to be
talking about ghost aliens on ships.
We better do something about the earthbound spirits down here. There's not going to be some ascension of a different earth. We better do something about the earthbound trap down here. You got people that are trapped here for thousands of years now, hundreds of years. We're worried about this other fantasy stuff. See what I mean?
Man, yes, I know, and it's really horrible. And yeah, something does need to be done about it for sure. We do. But I like to end the show on a lighter note if we can. Okay. Try to end it on a lighter note. And so
gremlins that
let's wrap it up.
Gremlins that are destroying airplanes. You know that.
Let's end it on the robots or something else, okay? Because it got dark real quick right there. But anyways.
Sorry, man. Sorry.
Yes.
Sorry. That should be for my show. I'll talk about it on my show. Sorry.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
And I will. Okay. I could be shut up.
Okay. Well, I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. This has been a really fantastic show. We've gone down some interesting detours tonight, and it's all very, very special, very important. Okay. everything we've talked about tonight. And Barry, I want to thank you for giving me that amazing target, and super duper enjoyed that one. And I think we've realized that it's not a cello case. That's all. It's not a cello case. Okay, so I don't know. Do you have any final thoughts tonight?
No, said too much already.
Okay. All right, y'all. Well, I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. Thank you guys so much for the super stickers and for all the support. Let me go down the list. Nathan and Skip and Native Plant Goddess, Rhonda and Firewater. Thank y'all so much for your support. If you guys want to see any of the remote viewing data, please go to my Patreon and become a member. And yeah, y'all come back and see me. I will be back on Saturday night at 10 p.m. On The Hunt. All right, y'all. So have a wonderful night, Barry. Thank you again.
One thing I will say, I think it's worth people trying to find out how much stuff like that is on planes. And maybe doing some things like even infrared, what would an infrared scanner pick up on there and stuff, infrared pictures, just food for thought, But I think that if we're dealing with what you saw there needs to be a lot of attention dealt with how much of that is causing problems on planes, especially mental problems, people that have fear of flying and all that stuff. Or is that just something destroying our equipment? It looked like a little bit more than just monitoring. Food for thought.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for being here, and we will see you guys back on Saturday. Please stay safe out there, y'all, and keep your head on a swivel. And I'm sending all my love and light out to all of y'all, and y'all have a wonderful night, and I will see y'all on Saturday. All right, Barry, thank you so much for being here. Where can everybody find you, Barry?
Oh, Barry Littleton, you can email me for any services at barrylittleton13@gmail.com. Finally got that email worked out, and when it gets, some people get spammed, but I'm able to catch it now. And that's all my services. You can email me there. And I'm also on YouTube under Barry Littleton, Patreon Barry Littleton, and Facebook Barry Littleton. No cool names, just simple stuff.
All right. Well, it's easier to find you because it's just Barry Littleton. Okay. All right, y'all. Have a wonderful night, and we will see y'all back here on Saturday. All right. See you, Barry. Y'all have a great night. Bye, y'all.